A journeyman license, Air Comfort Service will help you get it. Get guaranteed hours year-round and more. Apply online at aircomfortservice.com.
Annie Fry, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Ray.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
For goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
Yes, it is, and it is a big day. Supreme Court ruling has come down, and we are watching the reaction of the Supreme Court saying that President Trump's ability to use tariffs through IEPA, which is an Emergency Powers Act, is limited, that he is not able to assess those tariffs in the way that he has been assessing them prior. Now, I'm just going to tell everybody who's listening right now, that doesn't mean the president can't tariff. There is going to be a lot of reaction, of course, legal reaction. We are going to have at 1:30, Leanne O'Neill is the Chief Legal Affairs Officer for the American First Policy Institute, come give her thoughts and reaction at 1:30. But the President of the United States, Donald Trump, is going to react here, and we will carry that live as that unfolds. As soon as he speaks, he was scheduled to speak 20 minutes ago, and in true presidential fashion, he has not started speaking yet. So we're waiting for the president essentially to join us here on the Annie Fry Show and elaborate a little bit on his reaction so far to the Supreme Court ruling, which in a word he called a disgrace. So President Trump, obviously not going to be happy. There is no doubt in my mind that they did not have a contingency plan in place for this Supreme Court ruling should they have lost it. And so we will watch and wait for the president to start speaking regarding this news today. Big news out of the Supreme Court. I think one of the rulings, the biggest rulings that people were waiting for. There's several others, and those will likely come next week. One of them is on the Voting Rights Act. Still more to come from the Supreme Court. Not today, because this Supreme Court ruling on President Trump's tariffs, it's a big one, it's a doozy, and the president will be speaking on it very shortly. Let's listen to Shannon Bream's analysis on the issue.
We've got a very fractured opinion, but initially what it says, we know it's authored, the primary opinion, by the Chief Justice, and says essentially that this IEPA, this law that grants the president emergency powers, did not, it looks like by this first blush reading by Justice, the Chief Justice here, does not give him the power to levy these tariffs that he's levied. Part of this initial opinion says the words regulate and importation. The president says that gives him the independent power to impose tariffs on imports from any country, any product, any rate, any time. These words, it says, cannot bear such weight. We know we've got a dissent by Justice Kavanaugh, by Thomas and Alito, it looks like. And those were the three we thought during the arguments, if anyone would be persuaded to allow the president to move forward with these tariffs, they would be the ones to do it. So at first blush, like I said, there are multiple parts and concurrences to this opinion, but it looks like what the primary holding is going to be is that these tariffs cannot be used in the way that the president had tried to use them. Let me get you to the closing paragraph that we have in this initial opinion here. It says, the president asserts the extraordinary power to unilaterally impose tariffs of unlimited amount, duration, and scope. In light of the breadth, history, and constitutional context of that asserted authority, he must identify clear congressional authorization to exercise it, meaning if he wants to do it, he's got to show that Congress has allowed him to do it. But they say IEPA, this emergency powers law, contains no reference to tariffs or duties. The government points to no statute in which Congress used the word regulate to authorize taxation. And until now, no president has ever read IEPA to confer such powers. We claim no special competence in matters of economics or foreign affairs, but we claim only, as we must, the limited role assigned to us by Article 3 of the Constitution. Fulfilling that role, we hold that IEPA does not authorize the president to impose tariffs. We'll keep reading. That is the first blush, authored by the Chief Justice John Roberts.
So Shannon Bream, chief legal correspondent there at Fox News, reacting to the ruling from the Supreme Court today, saying that the president does not have the emergency powers authority that he used to assess some of these tariffs. President Trump is supposed to speak from the White House. Of course, he is not going to be thrilled with this. He has come out and called it a disgrace. We are going to carry the live White House reaction. It looks like they're doing it maybe from the press room, the press briefing room there, from the looks of what I'm scoping out right now. So when the president walks out, we will take that and we will take it live. So you will be able to listen in and hear exactly in the president's very own words what his thoughts are on the Supreme Court's ruling today, which is it did not go the way that the president wanted it to. Does the president have a plan B that he's quickly going to be able to move to? I sure as heck hope so. There's no implementation within the ruling from the Supreme Court on how to pay back tariffs that have been taken in. And it's kind of a part of the issue that the Supreme Court doesn't even consider. Like, the fact that it would be hard to repay these tariffs is not the Supreme Court's problem. The Supreme Court is there to assess the constitutionality of the executive action, and that is what they did. Let's listen to a CNN here report on it. We've got a little bit of Fox News. Let's go to CNN and hear their reaction.
Worker in that state.
This is CNN breaking news.
We're interrupting Kevin at the White House because we have breaking news from the Supreme Court. It has reached a major decision. CNN Chief Legal Affairs Correspondent Paula Reed has the details. What's this case about, Paula?
This is one of the most significant cases that the justices have decided in recent years. Here, the Supreme Court ruling that President Trump's use of these emergency tariffs that he has implemented are illegal. It's the most significant economic case to reach the high court in years, sweeping implications for the economy and, of course, for presidential power. And at stake here are billions of dollars in revenue that have already been collected by the government. Pamela Wolf, the other significance here is that this is the first time that the 6-3 conservative court has ruled against President Trump in one of these major cases that have gone before the court.
Paula Reed there, the chief legal correspondent for CNN, kind of saying the same type of thing there. And it's important that when you listen to these analysts and they're reacting to this moment and this ruling, a lot of them are correctly highlighting that it isn't the tariff in and of itself that is the illegal action. It's the mode with which the president assessed it. This IEPA, this is where it frustrates me as somebody who is covering the news on a daily basis. And I hear these, what I always think of is like, you know, in the old days, your textbook, your bold-faced words, your vocabulary words. IEPA is one of those words that you're going to hear. It's an acronym. You're going to hear it over and over and over again. That is IEPPA or IEEPA. But it's essentially referring to the Emergency Powers Act that the president was using, saying, hey, our trade deficit is an incredible emergency for this country, and I'm going to utilize it in order to rectify the trade deficits that our country is facing and use it to implement these tariffs against these countries as he sees fit. It's the way he had been acting prior, and the Supreme Court has come out and said, nope, we're not going to do that any longer. Here is Jonathan Turley talking about, you know, is this the end of the road for tariffs for President Trump?
The administration has other tools in its toolbox. It can actually impose tariffs under other statutes. So this night is hardly over for the administration when it comes to tariffs.
So there's going to be a plan B. There has to be a plan B. One of the things that I heard earlier today in the reaction to this ruling was that if you want to assess this type of application, you can't just do it broadly. You can't say like, oh, we have an emergency with the whole world. You get a tariff, you get a tariff, you get a tariff. There are going to have to be one-to-one considerations for you go to this one country and you want to say there's like an Emergency Powers Act or a different sort of legal reason to assess this tariff against them. It's going to have to be specific to the entity that is there within the deal. And that is going to be tedious. But maybe one of the main points that I'm hearing a lot of people, constitutionally legal scholars, react to this moment is saying this is a huge check on the executive that we have seen over the last decades with Republican and Democrat presidents alike, a ton of power being absorbed up by the executive branch. And this is where that Constitution, remember, when we say that we're a republic, not just a democracy, a republic being a kind of democracy, but republic being a very important distinction, that the Constitution is what governs this country. It's what drives our democracy. That's what makes us a republic. And the Constitution is filled to the brim with checks and balances. And the power of the purse, meaning the ability to spend and take the taxpayer's dollar, rests with Congress because it's the closest representation that we have to the American people. The House of Representatives, each member of the House of Representatives essentially representing about 750,000 people, give or take a few. The Senate being more equally divided so that the majority cannot dominate the legislation of this country, that it is important to retain that power of the purse with Congress. And tariffs, it sounds like the Chief Justice is saying that tariffs are in fact a tax. And if you listen to John Sauer, who was the Solicitor General, who argued on behalf of the administration, he was saying it's not a tax, it's a tariff. And the Chief Justice said it's a tax. So here we are. We're going to take a quick break right now. We are waiting for the President of the United States to speak, to respond to this ruling that has been delivered here on this Friday morning regarding tariffs. And he is going to respond. He has responded in a word, calling it a disgrace, but he will respond in words live right here on 97.1 FM Talk on the Andy Fry Show. When he comes and speaks, we will break in and we'll be back in just a minute. HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com. Call Matt Hayes at 314-271-9900. You like people who know how to work with their hands, who understand these basic types of things. Like, how do I make sure that the foundation of my home is solid, is not going to falter, is not going to crumble? You've identified a crack. Maybe you knew that there was a little bit of a hairline fracture, but all of a sudden it's been a bit. You went down there and you realized in your basement, that's gotten bigger. What's going on here? Maybe the lands are shifting. Maybe the foundation is shifted. Maybe water is making its way into your basement. You need that fixed. You need it fixed before it gets much, much worse. Read more expensive. 314-271-9900. Matt Hayes. He has the crew, the experience, the decades of work, time, and effort into building Home Shield Foundation repair from the ground up right here in St. Louis. And he can help fix your foundation when you call him at 314-271-9900. 314-271-9900 online at HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
42% of Missouri fourth graders can barely read. 42%. It's the worst result in 20 years. If kids can't read by third grade, they fall behind in school and many never catch up. But other states have provided a roadmap for success. Missouri needs one universal reading test for all third graders and one clear statewide standard for what it means to pass that test. A struggling reader who still can't read after extra help and a second chance at the test should repeat third grade with some exemptions. We also need to end the outdated 3Qing method, which encourages guessing instead of reading, and require teachers to be trained in the science of reading. In Mississippi and Indiana, test scores jumped up dramatically after these reforms, and Missouri can do the same. Missouri children deserve to become confident, capable readers, and strong early literacy reforms can make it happen. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by the Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Hi, it's Mark Cox inviting you to join me September 30th as we discover the charm of Switzerland, Austria, and Germany with Colette Travel. Spend 4 nights in Bern and then 4 nights at the foot of the Alps in Innsbruck. From the cobblestone streets to the postcard-worthy mountain landscapes of the amazing Alps, we're going to explore the Swiss capital of Bern and lovely Lucerne, the Swiss paradise on the lake. We'll travel the Austrian countryside to Salzburg with a visit to Mozart's birthplace, and then Mirabelle Gardens featured in The Sound of Music. This and so much more. Colette handles all the details. The flights, the meals, the hotels, the local experiences. All you have to do is have the time of your life. Don't miss this trip. Meet me and the folks from Colette to learn more at the Lodge at De Pere, Tuesday, February 24th at 2 p.m. Call Colette at 800-581-8942 or go to 971talk.com/events for details.
I'm fixing to tell you something that the insurance industry does not want you to ever hear. Bullies often delay and deny. I see them sitting on premiums paid and making money and dragging it out for as long as they can. Many times, we're forced to take them to court. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Their high-paid lobbyists are on a mission to make sure that at trial, jurors are not allowed to learn that the at-fault party has insurance, and in some cases, lots of it. I can think of no case in all my years where there was no insurance for the at-fault party. So let's fight back. It's all these bullies understand. Tell everybody you know the truth. If you've been injured in a car crash or hurt at a store or business, visit forthepeople.com. We're here 24/7. It's that easy. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Ready for instant curb appeal that comes with a 25-year transferable warranty? Call Rhino Shield today. We do brick, block, stucco, asbestos, aluminum, steel, cedar, and more. Over the past 20 years, we've done thousands of homes, businesses, churches, schools, condos, parking garages, large metal buildings, and strip malls, from Champaign to the Lake of the Ozarks. We do flat and sloped metal roofs to extend their lives too. Proud to be veteran-owned and manufactured in the good old USA, so we're tariff-free. We're exceeding expectations every day. Evaluations are free. A+ rated with the BBB and a lot of 5-star Google reviews. Call 877-25-RHINO, 877-25-RHINO, or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't Rhino, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Annie Fry is St. Louis conservative.
Wow, that's a lot of people. That's a new record.
We're
We set
listening
a
to
record
President
every
Trump
time.
live from the White House reaction
Well,
from
thank
the
you very
Supreme
much
Court
for being
ruling.
here. The Supreme Court's ruling on tariffs is deeply disappointing, and I'm ashamed of certain members of the court, absolutely ashamed, for not having the courage to do what's right for our country. I'd like to thank and congratulate Justices Thomas, Alito, and Kavanaugh for their strength and wisdom and love of our country, which is right now very proud of those justices. When you read the dissenting opinions, there's no way that anyone can argue against them. There's no way. Foreign countries that have been ripping us off for years are ecstatic. They're so happy. And they're dancing in the streets, but they won't be dancing for long, that I can assure you. The Democrats on the court are thrilled, but they will automatically vote no. They're an automatic no, just like in Congress. They're an automatic no. They're against anything that makes America strong, healthy, and great again. They also are a frankly, disgrace to our nation, those justices. They're an automatic no, no matter how good a case you have. It's a no. But you can't knock their loyalty. It's one thing you can do with some of our people. Others think they're being politically correct, which has happened before far too often with certain members of this court, and it's happened so often with this court. What a shame. Having to do with voting in particular, when in fact they're just being fools and lapdogs for the rhinos and the radical left Democrats, and not that this should have anything at all to do with it. They're very unpatriotic and disloyal to our Constitution. It's my opinion that the court has been swayed by foreign interests and a political movement that is far smaller than people would ever think. It's a small movement. I won by millions of votes. We won in a landslide. With all the cheating that went on, there was a lot of it, but we still won in a landslide. Too big to rig. But these people are obnoxious, ignorant, and loud. They're very loud. And I think certain justices are afraid of that. They don't want to do the right thing. They're afraid of it. This was an important case to me, more as a symbol of economic national security, and also, I would say, just for our country itself, so important, because we're doing so well as a country. We've never done so well. The good news is that there are methods, practices, statutes, and authorities, as recognized by the entire court in this terrible decision, and also as recognized by Congress, which they refer to, that are even stronger than the IEEPA tariffs available to me as President of the United States. And in actuality, I was very modest in my ask of other countries and businesses because I wanted to do, and it's very important, I wanted to be very well behaved because I wanted to do anything, I didn't want to do anything that would affect the decision of the court, because I understand the court. I understand how they are very easily swayed. I want to be a good boy. I have very effectively utilized tariffs over the past year to make America great again. Our stock market has just recently broken 50,000 on the Dow, and simultaneously, and even more amazingly, broken 7,000 on the S&P, two numbers that everybody thought upon our landslide election victory could not be attained. Think of that. Nobody thought it was possible to do it within 4 years, and we did it in 1 year. They said, you'll never be able, you'll go back and you read the geniuses, read their statements, all of the Nobel Prize winners in economics. They said, no, you couldn't do it in 4 years. Well, we didn't do it in 4 years. We did it in 1 year. We broke every record in the book, and we're continuing to do so. Tariffs have likewise been used to end 5 of the 8 wars that I settled. I settled 8 wars, whether you like it or not, including India, Pakistan, big ones, nuclear, could have been nuclear. Prime Minister of Pakistan said yesterday at the great meeting that we had, the Peace Board, he said yesterday that President Trump could have saved 35 million lives by getting us to stop fighting. They were getting ready to do some bad things. But they've given us great national security, these tariffs have. And together with our strong borders, reduced fentanyl coming into our country by 30%. When I use them as a penalty against countries illegally sending this poison into our country to poison our youth. All of those tariffs remain. They all remain. I don't know if you know that or not. They all remain. We're still getting them, and we will after the decision. I guess there's nobody left to appeal to. But again, those 3 people, such respect. I've had a lot of respect for them anyway, but such great respect. But other alternatives will now be used to replace the ones that the court incorrectly rejected. We have alternatives, great alternatives. Could be more money. We'll take in more money, and we'll be a lot stronger for it. We're taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. We'll continue to do so. To show you how ridiculous the opinion is, however, the court said that I'm not allowed to charge even $1. I can't charge $1. Can't charge $1. I would have used 1 penny, but we don't make the pennies anymore. We save money. Can't charge $1 to any country under IEPA. Not $1. I assume to protect other countries. This must have been done to protect those other countries, certainly not the United States of America, which they should be interested in protecting. That's what they're supposed to be protecting. But I am allowed to cut off any and all trade or business with that same country. In other words, I can destroy the trade. I can destroy the country. I'm even allowed to impose a foreign country destroying embargo. I can embargo. I can do anything I want, but I can't charge $1. Because that's not what it says. And that's not the way it even reads. I can do anything I want to do to them, but I can't charge any money. So I'm allowed to destroy the country, but I can't charge them a little fee. I could give them a little 2-cent fee, but I cannot charge under any circumstances. I cannot charge them anything. Think of that. How ridiculous is that? I'm allowed to embargo them. I'm allowed to tell them you can't do business in the United States anymore. We want you out of here. But if I want to charge them $10, I can't do that. It's incorrect. Their decision's incorrect. But it doesn't matter because we have very powerful alternatives that have been approved by this decision. You know, they've been approved by the decision for those that thought they had us. And they're saying that I have the absolute right to license, but not the right to charge a license fee. So think of that. I have the right to license, which is a very powerful word. In many ways, license is more powerful than tariffs. In fact, I was thinking about using it. But they came up with the idea that I can license, just like the people that were opposing me told them to do, but not the right to charge a license fee. Think of that. Who ever heard of such a thing? What license has ever been issued without the right to charge a fee? You get a license, you charge a fee. It's automatic, but not with this court. But now the court has given me the unquestioned right to ban all sorts of things from coming into our country, to destroy foreign countries, but a much more powerful right than many people ever thought we even had, but not the right to charge a fee. How crazy is that? Our country is the hottest country anywhere in the world right now. And it was a dead country 1.5 years ago under an incompetent president. But now I'm going to go in a different direction, probably the direction that I should have gone the first time, but I read the language. I'm very good at reading language, and it read our way 100%, but now I'll go the way I could have gone originally, which is even stronger than our original choice. As Justice Kavanaugh, whose stock has gone so well, you have to see, I'm so proud of him, wrote in his dissent, although I firmly disagree with the court's holding today, the decision might not substantially constrain a president's ability to order tariffs going forward. So, think of that. The decision might not substantially constrain. And it doesn't, he's right. In fact, I can charge much more than I was charging. So I'm going to just start. Although I firmly disagree with the court's holding today, the decision might not substantially constrain a president's ability to order tariffs going forward. That's because numerous other federal statutes, which is so true, authorize the president to impose tariffs and might justify most, if not all, of the tariffs issued in this case. Even more tariffs, actually. Those statutes include, think of that, those statutes include, for example, the Trade Expansion Act of 1962, Section 232. All of these things I know so well. The Trade Act of 1974, Sections 122, 201, 301. And the Tariff Act of 1930, Section 338, all clear. But it's a little bit longer process. I thought I'd make things simple, but they didn't let us do that. I would like to thank Justice Kavanaugh for frankly, his genius and his great ability. Very proud of that appointment. In actuality, while I am sure that they did not mean to do so, the Supreme Court's decision today made a president's ability to both regulate trade and impose tariffs more powerful and more crystal clear rather than less. I don't think they meant that. I'm sure they didn't. It's terrible. And to think that the Democrats who oppose this only because they want to go the opposite way, they'd like to pack the court. They want to put on 21 people. They want to pack the court, pack the Supreme Court. Maybe they should do it. Maybe they would be better off if they did it. They want to pack the court. They want to do anything to hurt our country. There will no longer be any doubt, and the income coming in and the protection of our companies and country will actually increase because of this decision. I don't think the court meant that, but it's the way it is. Based on long-standing law and hundreds of victories, and even, as I was pointed out before, even thousands of victories over the years, to the contrary, the Supreme Court did not overrule tariffs. They merely overruled a particular use of IEEPA tariffs. And essentially, it's used to get a fee. I can do anything I want with IEEPA, anything. I just can't charge anybody for it. I can license, I just can't charge them. It's ridiculous, but it's okay because we have other ways, numerous other ways. The ability to block, embargo, restrict, license, or impose any other condition on a foreign country's ability to conduct trade with the United States under IEEPA has been fully confirmed by this decision. So now there's no doubt, because, you know, there were a lot of questions about tariffs because no president was smart enough to use them to protect our country from those countries and businesses that were ripping us off. You took a look at the deficits that we had with some of these countries. It was disgraceful what they got away with for many, many decades. But now we know, because this decision affirms all those things that some people weren't sure about. In order to protect, and it says so, in order to protect our country, a president can actually charge more tariffs than I was charging in the past period of a year under the various tariff authorities. So we can use other of the statutes, other of the tariff authorities, which have also been confirmed and are fully allowed. Therefore, effective immediately, all national security tariffs under Section 232 and existing Section 301 tariffs, they're existing, they're there, remain in place, fully in place, and in full force and effect. Today, I will sign an order to impose a 10% global tariff under Section 122 over and above our normal tariffs already being charged. And we're also initiating several Section 301 and other investigations to protect our country from unfair trading practices of other countries and companies. Thank you for your attention to this matter, and I say quite simply, which I've said for a long time, make America great again. And interestingly, we've already made it great, so I don't have to use that, but I don't think we'll ever give up on MAGA. MAGA is always going to be with us. If you have a few questions, you can let us know. But just to end, so we're going forward. We will be able to take in more money, and there'll no longer be doubt, because there was always doubt. I know the people that brought the lawsuit, and you know, they're sleazebags, major sleazebags, but I know them, and they're foreign country centric. They were sending things into our country, and the people representing them knew full well, but they were sending things into our country, and they were beneficial to other countries, but very, very bad for us. And I stopped it, and we'll just keep it going. So we have we have a totally firm decision now, and I don't think the court meant it, because the court doesn't show great spirit toward our country, in my opinion. A lot of bad decisions, but there are usually ways around it. This is something we could have done, as Justice Kavanaugh said, we could have done this originally, but we're doing it now, and the numbers could be far greater than the hundreds of billions we've already taken in. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I'm very curious. You've
Why didn't
spoken
call
about
you in the red?
Thank you so much, Mr. President. Justice Thomas and Alito, as you know, are the most conservative constitutional justices. Do you think that you'll get to appoint 2 more justices later this term with similar ideologies? And what type of vetting process will they go through to ensure they uphold?
I don't know, but they're great
Constitution?
justices. That's all I can say. And I hope they're going to be around a long time. I hope they're going to stay healthy. They're great people. They're great. And Justice Alito, too, to add to the group. These are great men.
Right.
With a great love of our country and a great understanding of the law.
Mr. President, are you going to ask Congress to take additional action on tariffs now?
No, I don't need to. It's already been approved. I mean, I would ask Congress and probably get it. When people look at the real numbers, and you look at hundreds of billions of dollars that have come into our country. Yesterday, I was at a steel plant, as you know, and I went to great place, great plant, great, wonderful people. And they were telling me, I said to them, you were there, a lot of the press in this room. Of course, I don't think this plane's big enough to take the press in this room, but a lot of the press right here. We were in Georgia. And I said to the owner, I made a speech at a factory. They make steel products. And I said, how are you? Nice to meet you. How's business? President, I'd love to kiss you. This is a very powerful man. I don't want to be kissed by that man, but a very powerful, strong man. He's been in the steel business for many years. His father started it. And he said, sir, I want to kiss you. I said, why? He said, because we were down to working 1 hour a week, and then you came in and imposed tariffs, and all of that foreign junk that they were dropping into our country stopped. And we're now going to double shifts, 7 days a week, and we may be very soon going to 24 hours around the clock, almost 7 days a week. He said, sir, I want to kiss you so badly. And I said, no, thank you. But you know what? He just to finalize it, he said, oh, this is a great place in Georgia. He said, all up and down the highway, same exact answer, sir. We're all going out of business. We're going to go bankrupt. We're all going out of business. And now every one of us are thriving, and we're hiring people like we haven't. He said, like I've never, and he's been in business for, I think, 45 years, like we've never hired before. That's because of tariffs. And we're going to keep it going the same way. And you're going to start to see the results in a year from now when all those factories start that are under construction right now. You see all the construction numbers are so good. Those construction workers are building factories that are going to be open, including not only AI, which is big, but car plants coming in from Canada, who ripped us off for 30% of our market. Mexico ripped us off for a big portion. Over the years, they've taken our market. They've taken our cars. They manufacture them in Japan, Germany, and all over the place because nobody's standing in this position. The position I have as President of the United States had the insight, the courage, well, I don't know what it is, to charge tariffs. You can make your product outside. You can put our people out of business. You can put everybody on the unemployment rolls. But if you're going to make a car in some other country, you're going to pay a 15, 20, 30% tariff. And those things would have never happened. We wouldn't have lost our business. Same thing with, as an example, Taiwan. Taiwan came in. They stole our chip business. They make chips. For 30 years longer, they made chip. And they put our companies. Intel would be now the largest company. I saved Intel. I literally saved it at the beginning of this administration. And now all those companies in Taiwan are building factories in Arizona, Texas, and various other places because they don't want to pay tariffs. They're all pouring into the United States. But just like that great patriot said yesterday, sir, what you've done, nobody thought was possible. And Steve Moore, a highly respected economist, came into my office yesterday. He said, you've done something nobody's ever done. 22 Nobel Prize winners in economics said we would right now be in a recession. And you said, no, we're going to have a booming country. We're going to have a booming country. You were right. All 22 were wrong, and you were right. This country is booming, and it's booming because of the election on November 5th, and it's booming for another reason. It's booming because of tariffs. Yeah, please, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. You said ahead of this decision that if the Supreme Court
please, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. What will you say to foreign nations who seek to renegotiate their deals? And what did you mean a moment ago when you said that the Supreme Court has been swayed by foreign interests?
Well, I think that foreign interests are represented by people that I believe have undue influence, have a lot of influence over the Supreme Court, whether it's through fear or respect or friendships, I don't know. But I know some of the people that were involved on the other side, and I don't like them. I think they're real slime balls. And got to do what's right for the country. You got to do what's right for the Constitution. That's why I respect so much Justice Thomas and Alito, Kavanaugh, because they not only dissented, their dissent is so strong. When you read their dissent, a lot of times you'll read a dissent and it's like, well, you don't know, it could go either way. There's no other way. The good news is, it's like Justice Kavanaugh said, very strongly said, you have other ways you can go. You don't have to go that way. You can go other way. There are numerous other ways you can go. And frankly, this should have been done by presidents many years ago. They allowed our country to be eaten alive. We lost 50% of our car business. We used to make cars. We made all the cars. And then Mexico came, Canada came, and Japan and Germany. But they're all coming back now. They're all coming back at record levels. No, you please. I'm not talking to you. I don't talk to CNN. It's fake news. Go ahead.
Mr. President, yesterday you made the case that the economy is the hottest it's been in a long time. Right. January jobs report beat expectations, CPI report beat expectation, real wages are up. What would you tell Americans who are worried that this decision will kind of throw the economy that you have projected going in the right direction at a very rapid pace off track?
Well, thank you for the question. And I will say this, we really are at a very important point. I've been waiting for this decision so long. They could have made this decision a long time ago. Not complex. They're wrong on it. It's a ridiculous decision. But they should have released this a long time ago. We waited months. And that gave uncertainty. Now we have certainty. And I think you're going to see the country get much stronger because of it. Look, we were ripped off by almost every country in the world. If you look at the surpluses, almost every country in the world that did business with us, our people were stupid. And I blame presidents for it because they're ultimately the leader. We were being ripped off by almost every single country in the world, had some massive surpluses. China had hundreds of billions of dollars in surpluses with the United States. They rebuilt China. They rebuilt the army. We built China's army by allowing that to happen. I have a great relationship with President Xi, but he respects our country now. Now, what we've done, I charged China a 20% tariff as a penalty for sending fentanyl in. And that was 20 times more than they could make by selling fentanyl. And I said, at some point you're going to say, and they have reduced it. Fentanyl is down by more than 30% coming into our country. Part of that is our strong border. We have a strong border now. But thank you. Thank you for your question.
Mr. President, sir, you warned once in a social media post that if the Supreme Court did this, shot down your tariffs, the U.S. would be, quote, financially defenseless. Are we financially defenseless right now?
No, because we're doing something in a different way. We're doing something in a very powerful way. And we're using things that some people thought we should have used in the first place. But it's more complicated. It's a little more complicated. The process takes a little more time. But the end result is going to get us more money. And I think it's going to be great. Yeah, please. Peter, go ahead.
Thank you, President Trump. So, since Liberation Day, there's about $175 billion in tariff revenue that is now in limbo. Do you have to refund $175 billion?
Think of it, Peter. Very fair question. They take months and months to write an opinion, and they don't even discuss that point. We've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars, not millions, hundreds of billions of dollars. And so I said, well, what happens to all the money that we took in? It wasn't discussed. Wouldn't you think they would have put one sentence in there saying that keep the money or don't keep the money, right? I guess it has to get litigated for the next 2 years. So they write this terrible, defective decision, totally defective. It's almost like not written by smart people. And what they do, they don't even talk about that. Your question is very basic. That was the first question I asked also to make you feel good. They said, what about all the money that we've taken in? Sir, they don't discuss that. How crazy is that?
What you're saying is, are you saying that you don't plan to honor refunds for companies that file for them?
I just told you the answer, right? I told you the answer. It's not discussed. We'll end up being in court for the next 5 years. Go ahead, Green.
Thank you, Mr. President. When you are talking about the relationship with countries that you have sought trade deals with, do you anticipate that they will seek to renegotiate those? What do you say to them? And do you view this as a potential undermining power for your
We're
negotiations?
going straight ahead with 10% straight across the board, which was the absolute right to do. And that's taking place. That's a lot of money coming into our country. And then during that period of about 5 months, we are doing the various investigations necessary to put fair tariffs or tariffs, period, on other countries. So we're doing that period, but we're immediately instituting the 10% provision, which we're allowed to do. And in the end, I think we'll take in more money than we've taken in before.
Mr. President, you've used the tariff revenue to pay for a host of federal policies. You've claimed that they will pay for them. What happens
Well,
to
like
those
the
things?
farmers, we took care of farmers. You know, the farmers were mistreated by foreign countries very badly, very, very badly. And last week I gave them $12 billion out of tariff money. We intend to, out of tariff money, because just so you understand, we have tariffs. We just have them in a different way. And now they've been confirmed by the Supreme Court of the United States. So there's no longer that question out there about tariffs. And we'll be taking in hundreds of billions of dollars. And countries that have treated us badly will have to pay a price for treating us badly. And countries that have been good to us will be treated very well. We just left the top person in a place called Vietnam, just left my office. Great gentleman, strong and smart. He said, you know, I think this means you're allowed to charge us more tariffs than before. And Canada said to Jameson, I might want to say it, Jameson, but Canada said, I hope you win this decision, because if you don't win, you'll actually be allowed to charge us, with a little additional work, higher tariffs. Jameson, you want to comment on that?
Yes, sir. So, to the President's point, we have a lot of tools out there. We have Section 122, which will be implemented today. It will be signed today and implemented very shortly. We have Section 301 investigations, which are incredibly legally durable, where we can investigate and address unfair trading practices that have led to our huge trade deficit. And so you can look forward in the coming days and weeks to seeing all of that come out, and we're going to keep continuity in the program. We're going to keep addressing this so that the deficit can keep going down. That's the trend it has, and we can make America great again.
No.
Several of Republicans in Congress have supported this decision by the Supreme Court, and Hakeem Jeffries, the Democratic leader, has called you a wannabe king. Why wouldn't
him a low IQ?
But why wouldn't
he? Doesn't even know. And I watched him the other day interview. The guy doesn't even know what a tariff is.
But there's been bipartisan criticism.
No, not bipartisan.
Of the tariffs.
Excuse me.
There's several
A few
Republicans
people
have said that.
Yeah,
But
a
why
few people.
wouldn't you just work with Congress to come up with a plan?
I don't have to.
To push tariffs.
I have the
through?
right to do tariffs, and I've always had the right to do tariffs. And it's all been approved by Congress, so there's no reason to do it. All we're doing is we're going through a little bit more complicated process. Not complicated very much, but a little more complicated than what we had. We'll be able to take in tariffs, more tariffs. And the Congress people and the Congress
down the Canadian tariffs last week.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
been votes
you
in
know
the
why?
Senate against it.
Yeah, because we lost 2 Republicans or 3 Republicans because they're not good Republicans. What you don't say, you don't say that we got 215 votes.
You need 218 for something to pass.
Yeah, sure we do. We might have lost 3 votes, and what was the score on the Republican side? 215 to 3, right? But you don't say that. We have great unity. There's great unity in the Republican Party, and I hope everyone's going to vote Republican, because otherwise you won't have a country left, because these people have been they are destroying our country. Please.
Mr. President, the 122 tariffs, that 10%,
Yeah.
is that going to be for 150 days, or do you want to charge that indefinitely?
We have a right to do pretty much what we want to do, but we're going to charge it starting effectively. I think it's 3 days from now. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, you speak to a lot of factory workers, a lot of manufacturing workers. What does the Supreme Court ruling say? What's that message to those factory workers?
Well, I think the factory workers are happy because we're now telling them that they're going to look. The man I met with yesterday, who owned a factory, was out of business. He was out of business. And now he's employing 5 times. In fact, I walked in, he's got a brand new crane. I said, how old is that crane? We got it in December. He's allowed to write it off in 1 minute. The great big beautiful act gave no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. He said this great big beautiful bill, frankly, has been the best thing that's ever happened for the workers of the, much more so than for rich people. The only thing it does for rich people, it allows them to hire a lot more people. But when I saw him, and then he said, it's all up and down the line. This is a place in Georgia, all up and down, other factories doing different, not only steel products, different. He said, every one of us was out of business. We could barely make it. Some of them were down to less than an hour a week. Think of it, 1 hour a week to make just a few little trinkets or whatever they make. Now they're going round the clock. I had it a month ago. I went to Michigan, went to Ford, and I met with Bill Ford, the head of Ford, and we were in one of the biggest plants, an original plant from the early 1900s, where, by the way, I might add this, it's not really relevant, but it's all relevant. Murders are down the lowest since 1900, around the time that he had this plant. That's 125 years. We have the lowest murder rate. Okay. And our crime is way down in the country. The factories that we're talking about, the people that we're talking about, they are so thrilled with Trump. So whether we charge IEEPA tariffs or whether we charge tariffs under a different section, that's what we're going to be doing. There's no way we can lever. This is what happened to our country. This is why we owe $38 trillion, which we'll get rid of in pretty good course. We have a very incompetent Fed chairman who likes high interest rates. For political reasons, he likes them. But we're going to have somebody very good. Interest rates should come down very substantially. I think we should pay the lowest interest rates on the planet. There should be no country, and we don't do that. We're number 38. This is just bad policy for a long period of time. But what's happened is we've made America strong again. We've made America great again. We should pay. As an example, the country of Switzerland, we were getting almost no tariffs from them. We had a $40 billion deficit. And the prime minister called me up. She said, but we are a small country, because I said we're going to raise it to 39% from nothing. That would have rendered them not very successful, as opposed to right now they're considered elite. But if we put a tariff, they would, and I realized then, she said, but sir, we are a small country. I said, you're a small country with a big deficit. For us, you're making a lot of money off the United States. If we do that, a lot of these elite countries, they're elite because we let them make so much money. And I want them to do well, but I don't want them to do well on the backs of the American taxpayer. So I appreciate your question. I think it's a reasonable answer.
President Trump, you said that you were disappointed with that, but were you surprised with this decision? What you felt when you...
I was surprised because I thought that what we did was, number one, according to, I mean, I read the paragraphs. I read very well. Great comprehension. I read everything there is to read, and I said, we can't lose this case. But we can when judges are political, when they want to be politically correct, when they're catering to a group of people in D.C. maybe. I don't know what it is, because when you read it, there's no other interpretation. There is no other interpretation. But it's okay, because what has come out, and I'll say it for the third time and maybe the last time in a while, is that we've taken the uncertainty of tariffs out, because we had uncertainty. We got sued by sleazebags, I know them well, that are very outside country, China-centric, but outside country-centric. And they're going to end up not doing as well as they did before. America was becoming really, really, we're strong again. Hey, we have the strongest military. I rebuilt the military in the first term. We have the most powerful military. We make the best equipment. And even them, you know, we could do much better. We have people that get paid a lot of money to manufacture Patriot missiles and javelins and all the different things. But when you want them, they're too slow. And we put them on notice, and they're going to make, our country is is building a lot of things right now, and our country is doing really well, and we're going to keep it that way. The bottom line is that the word certainty is now in the equation. Every single thing I said today is guaranteed certainty. It's been tested, as Jameson said 1,000 times. Literally, I said hundreds of times. He said, sir, actually thousands of times, and won in all of the courts. And we're just going back to that. And the problem is that we had other presidents that weren't into trade. Maybe they weren't business oriented. Maybe they weren't smart. We had some dummies too, you know. I respectfully say we had some real dummies. So we are going to keep it going just as before, probably more so. But you're no longer going to be asked, every time I got up, you'd ask, well, what happens if you can't charge tariffs? Now we can. And by the way, in their decision, they specifically said, we can do these. We have alternatives, yeah.
David, on the trade deals that were negotiated using IEEPA tariffs,
Yeah.
do those stand now, or are they have to be
Well,
redone?
some of them stand. Many of them stand. Some of them won't, and they'll be replaced with the other tariffs.
Mr. President, on the Supreme Court justices who ruled against this the policy, striking it down, are they still invited to your State of the Union
Yeah.
next week? And will you speak with them?
They are invited, barely. Barely. 3 are happily invited. No, they're barely invited. Honestly, I couldn't care less if they come, okay?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President. On the trade deal, which is the framework, which is to be signed with India sometime soon, will that stand now?
Yeah,
and on
nothing
the decision,
changes.
nothing changes.
No, nothing changes. They'll be paying tariffs, and we will not be paying tariffs. Our deal with India is they pay tariffs. This is a reversal from what it used to be, as you know. India, and I think Prime Minister Modi is a great gentleman, a great man, actually, but he was much smarter than the people that he was against in terms of the United States. He was ripping us off in India. So we made a deal with India, and it's a fair deal now, and we are not paying tariffs to them, and they are paying tariffs. We did a little flip.
Are up as of now for this.
No, the India deal is on here.
Thank you so much, Mr. President.
All the deals are on it. We're just going to do it a different way.
Mr. President. Thank you so much, Mr. President. I think there's another war that you stopped, and you should take the credit, which is in Syria. Secretary Rubio, after his meeting in Munich with the Syrian Foreign Minister and the Kurdish General Muslim Abdi, he said that President Trump was directly involved in efforts to stop the fighting between the Kurds and the Syrians. How will your administration will make sure that this peace is sustained? And do you support the idea
Well,
of...
it's a very different topic, and so I don't want to spend a lot of time, but all I can say is that the president of Syria, who I essentially put there, is doing a phenomenal job. He's a rough guy. He's not a choir boy. A choir boy couldn't do it. But Syria is coming together, really coming together well. And thus far, he's been very good to the Kurds. Yeah.
Sir, thank you. Mr. President, what's your message to the Iranian people after 2 rounds of talks with them? Do you have any message to the Iranian people?
The Iranian people in Iran or people here?
People in Iran.
They better negotiate a fair deal. They better negotiate. You know, the people of Iran are a lot different than the leaders of Iran. And it's very, very, very sad situation. But 32,000 people were killed over a relatively short period of time. They were going to hang 800, 2 weeks ago, hang, some by crane. They lift them up with a tall crane, and they play them around the square. They were going to hang 837 people. And I gave them the word, if you hang one person, even one person, that you're going to be hit right then and there. I wasn't waiting 2 weeks and negotiating. And they gave up the hanging. They didn't hang 837. Supposedly, they didn't hang anybody. But no, I feel very badly for the people of Iran. They've lived in hell. Please.
Thank you, Mr. President, you mentioned multiple times foreign influence over the Supreme Court. Do you have evidence of that? And if not, will you investigate that?
You're going to find out.
What alternatives are you going to put into place in your relationship with Europe, and also those tariffs that have been called illegal? How they're going to go impact the relationship with Russia, that you sanctions?
Well, I want Europe to strengthen up. Europe has gone woke. Europe is not recognizable when you go into so many places. Not all countries. You look at Hungary. You look at Poland, Czech, Slovakia. There are some countries that have gone very much the opposite. Some really, and some others. But Europe has to be strong, and they become soft and not recognizable. You go into some of the countries, I don't want to be specific, but I think everyone knows what I'm talking about, and they're not recognizable. They become, the environmentalists have taken over. They've got windmills destroying their fields and their beautiful meadows and their oceans, and they're paying a fortune. Now, Europe has to get smart. Europe's getting killed on two things, energy and immigration. And if they don't solve both of them fast, Europe is not the same place. Yeah, please.
Justices Gorsuch and Barrett, are you surprised in particular by their decision today?
I am.
And do you regret nominating them?
I don't want to say whether or not I regret. I think their decision was terrible. Yeah. I think it's an embarrassment to their families. You want to know the truth? The two of them. Yeah.
Specifically on that
Say it again,
$2,000
please.
tariff check.
Mr. President.
I didn't call you.
You didn't call me?
Yeah, Mr. President, to be clear, do you believe at the end of implementing these new tariff tools, the tariff rate and tariffs will ultimately be higher than they currently are?
Potentially higher. How much higher? It depends, whatever we want them to be. But we want them to be fair for other countries. And, you know, we have some countries that have treated us really badly for years, and it's going to be high for them. And we have other countries that have been very good, and it's going to be very reasonable for them. Yeah.
Specifically on the tariffs question, I mean on the $2,000.
I didn't call you.
Mr. President, thank you, Mr. President. Do you have any plans to travel to India for the Quad Summit, and how do you think your relationship with India is right now?
I think my relationship with India is fantastic, and we're doing trade with India. India pulled out of Russia. You know, India was getting its oil from Russia, right? And they pull way back at my request because we want to settle that horrible war where 25,000 people are dying every month. And my relationship with Prime Minister Modi is, I would say, great. I also stopped a war between India and Pakistan, as you know. There were 10 planes we shot down. That war was going, and probably going nuclear. And just yesterday, the Prime Minister of Pakistan said President Trump saved 35 million lives by getting them to stop. That's and I did it largely with tariffs. I said, look, you're going to fight, that's fine, but you're not going to do business with the United States, and you're going to pay a 200% tariff, each country. And they called up and they said, we have made peace. Okay? I just want to thank you all. Look, great certainty has been brought back to the economy of the United States, and actually the economy of the world, because we generate so much in the world. We're the biggest in the world, and we're now the strongest by far. We were a country that was dead 1.5 years ago. Now we have the hottest country in the world. We're going to keep it that way. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Well, that is the President of the United States speaking there in the White House press briefing room, and he had quite a lot to say. We'll have some more clips and reaction from that throughout the course of this show if we pull them out and regurgitate them to you. Leanne O'Neill is the Chief Legal Affairs Officer for the American First Policy Institute, and she'll be with us at 1:30. So in 25 minutes, reaction. We wanted to make sure that when we booked somebody for this, we were able to get somebody who was going to be able to hear what the president had to say and react to, yes, what the Supreme Court ruling was, but also what President Trump had to say. And we said this off air as we were listening here in the studio, Ryan, Brad, and myself taking in the president's reaction along with you as that happened live. The headline of this story today was really kind of a under his breath comment in response to a reporter where he said, they said, you know, is the tariff still going to be on? And I think it was to a specific country. And he goes, all the tariffs are still on. We're just going to do them a different way. And then he went to the next question. I was like, that's the headline. That right there, that's the story. IEPA is something that you're going to hear talked about with the Supreme Court ruling today, where the Supreme Court ruled 6-3 that the president does not have the ability to assess the tariffs that he has implemented under an Emergency Powers Act That was the legal foundation with which the president assessed these tariffs. And the Supreme Court said you cannot assess these tariffs that way. They did not say that you can't assess the tariffs. They did not say that the president doesn't have tariff authority. They said that he doesn't have the authority under that particular act. The president has said, and to Howard Lutnick's left on the Secretary of Commerce? To his left was an individual who I did not recognize, which means he's probably the brains of the operation as opposed to the face of the operation. He went and listed several different, one of them was Section 122, one of them might be Section 302. I can't remember which, I don't know. Our expert, Leanne O'Neill, will talk to us about that at 1:30. Listen, we can do these tariffs in a whole host of ways. What I'm gleaning from this moment right now is that President Trump is saying, I have the authority to tariff. The Supreme Court has struck down my authority to tariff under the Emergency Powers Act. There are multiple other ways that we can put these tariffs and leave these tariffs as they exist right now. We just have to do it through a different mechanism, and we will do it, and the tariffs will stay. To me, Ryan, you said off air, he's like, why didn't you just do that in the first place? And as we were discussing it and listening to their reaction, like, we can do it under these powers, we can do it under those powers. My thought on this and my initial question to Leanne O'Neill after she kind of sets the table for us here in 22 minutes, my question will be, much to what Ryan said, why didn't we just do this in the first place? My guess is that is a more meticulous and tedious way to do it, and that the Emergency Powers Act that the president used, according to the Supreme Court incorrectly, was a much more speedy and sweeping way to do what he wanted to do.
And it sounds like, even as we listen to the president and other legal analysts throughout the morning, that some of the tariffs that he did were in different ways. So it wasn't that he did all of them in the emergency powers. It's that he did most of them in the emergency powers. And that was what the question was on the Supreme Court. So some of them actually didn't get overturned. It was just the ones he did in that way.
Go to your favorite social media outlet right now and look at all of the people you've curated into your feed. And depending on what location you're going to look at and what your feed looks like, I can tell you already what they're all saying. And the truth of the matter is, as it usually is, it lies somewhere in the middle. And Donald Trump, I said this to a coworker outside, one of our friends who's on KMOX. I'm like, did you hear about Trump getting his butt kicked at the Supreme Court today? And then we had a little back and forth pleasant exchange. This was not good news for Donald Trump today.
No.
There's no way around saying a version of what I'm going to say next without saying he lost at the Supreme Court today. And of all of the things that this Trump administration has had to battle through the Supreme Court, he has not had a loss like this yet. And there have been many opportunities for him to have his agenda halted screechingly to a stop. And this is the first opportunity, I think, that the Trump administration, where they've run up into what looks like a brick wall, saying, no, you cannot do that. The question will be for Leanne O'Neill is, yeah, that brick wall might be thick and it might be tall, but how wide is it? Because if you can sidestep it and you can go around it, it's an obstacle, but it might not be the detriment. Maybe it will be. I am not a legal expert. I do not play one on the radio. But it does sound to me, shockingly, that President Trump is confident he has another way around it. And if he were going into these tariffs, implementing them through the Emergency Powers Act, which you're going to hear referred to over and over and over again as IEPA, and they're not going to explain what it is, and they're going to expect all of us to have the doctorate that says that we know all these things, and we don't. And then we quit asking questions and say, what is that word again? Because we get too far into the conversation to ask like the basic bold-faced vocabulary words. IEPA means the Emergency Powers Act. President Trump has the confidence that he has a plan B. If he knew that this was in front of the Supreme Court, which it has been for months and months, and he didn't have a plan B for if this gets struck down, then what the hell are you doing? Of course he has a plan B. Will that go to the Supreme Court? Maybe.
Yeah, but again, it could take another year or two, and they know this. They know this is all part of the process. One thing he did address in that press conference right there that people were asking is what happens to the revenue that's been collected so far? Well, the answer is the Supreme Court didn't address that.
Yeah.
So we don't know.
Well, what happens is they're going to get sued.
And that's what he said.
And sued,
Yeah.
and sued, and sued, and sued, and sued. If the tariffs are implemented through a different legal foundation, does that change the ones that were previously implemented under
Big question.
We don't know. And honestly, I don't think that the administration really knows. The Supreme Court acknowledged that they haven't even thought past the point to where they'd have to figure out how that would work, because that's not their job. Their job is strictly to say, you have the authority under the Constitution of the United States to do this or you don't. And that's where they stopped. And honestly, that's where they should stop.
Expect in the next 24 hours to see a variety of news stories that come out and say the precedent for something like this happening was back in 1897 when blah, blah, blah. And you go, okay, does that apply here? I don't know. We still don't know.
When the president says that he has a plan B, this is what I was saying. Did the president get his butt kicked at the Supreme Court today? He did. But he may have lost a battle. He has not lost the war yet. We don't know who wins the war here. He is still in the game. He's still fighting for what he thinks that he has the authority to do. So for everybody who wants to celebrate on a Friday because their team won, that's fine. Do that. Monday, back in the trenches, folks. Leanne O'Neill at 1:30, the chief legal affairs officer for the American First Policy Institute, is going to react. We'll be back in just a minute. Don't go away. HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com. I want to encourage you to call Matt Hayes at 314-271-9900 and quickly understand why people in St. Louis have gone, yep, he's the right guy. This is the right team. The Home Shield Foundation Repair team is second to none. They are a tight-knit group that are very good at what they do. A lot of times in these types of businesses, turnover can be kind of high. Not at Home Shield Foundation Repair. 314-271-9900 for your basement waterproofing questions, for your uneven or cracked foundation crawl space questions, for your residential and commercial questions, even for that concrete on the patio, on the walkways, the sidewalks at your home, at work that are uneven and that they need to be remedied because they have become a liability. It's a trip hazard for you, maybe for a customer. 314-271-9900. That's 314-271-9900. Call Matt Hayes, tell him Annie Fry sent you, and get to the bottom of fixing your foundation once and for all. HomeshieldFoundationRepairs.com.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
I'm Matt Morgan of Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. I've had the privilege of seeing miracles, broken families rebuilt, every crash, every workplace injury, every medical mistake. Fighting back can work. We've gone toe-to-toe with insurance giants, and we've won a lot. Over $30 billion recovered. Size matters. Reputation matters. Results matter. There's only one Morgan & Morgan.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Hi, it's Mark Cox inviting you to join me September 30th as we discover the charm of Switzerland, Austria, and Germany with Colette Travel. Spend 4 nights in Bern and then 4 nights at the foot of the Alps in Innsbruck. From the cobblestone streets to the postcard-worthy mountain landscapes of the amazing Alps, we're going to explore the Swiss capital of Bern and lovely Lucerne, the Swiss paradise on the lake. We'll travel the Austrian countryside to Salzburg with a visit to Mozart's birthplace, and then Mirabelle Gardens featured in The Sound of Music. This and so much more. Colette handles all the details. The flights, the meals, the hotels, the local experiences. All you have to do is have the time of your life. Don't miss this trip. Meet me and the folks from Colette to learn more at the Lodge at De Pere, Tuesday, February 24th at 2 p.m. Call Colette at 800-581-8942 or go to 971talk.com/events for details.
If you've listened to 97.1 FM Talk, you've heard of Doug Voss of Voss Financial and Safe Money Radio, as he has been a staple as the financial expert on the station for many years. You can hear him on Safe Money Radio every Saturday at 2, right here on 97.1 FM Talk, and you can talk to Doug Voss directly. Here's his number. Call Doug at 844-676-SAFE. That is 844 888-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
Men. Need a clinic that accepts all insurance, including Medicare? U.S. Men's Medical Center in St. Peter's does. U.S. Men's helps men experiencing loss of energy, focus, concentration, and low libido. And they accept all insurance, even Medicare, for testosterone replacement therapy. Patients love the staff and the fact that, yes, I'm going to say it again, they accept all insurance, including Medicare. Feel better? Call U.S. Men's Medical Center at 636-244-5333.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Singing Radiohead at the top of our lungs, with the boombox blaring as we're falling in love. God, whatever.
Is Avril Lavigne, is this new?
Wait, this is new Avril?
That's what I'm asking. I can't possibly be.
How could it be?
it's 13 years old. If I were Avril Lavigne and I was going to resurge in my late 30s, I'd write a song called Here's to Never Growing Up.
Okay.
And I'd sing about a skater boy.
So that is Avril Lavigne.
Yes.
It's just not new.
Avril Lavigne rips me back into a time in my life. It was hard to get away from Avril Lavigne when I was in college.
Oh, yeah. When I was
mid-2000s.
High school,
early
college,
to mid-2000s.
All the guys kind of liked Avril Lavigne. For her
Bad
looks.
girl. Big into her music. She helped us feel.
I did not hate her music, actually.
I like Avril Lavigne.
It's very time period.
She was unique enough that it stuck out and it was kind of its own.
She had a couple of hits that I still think are pretty good songs.
We've had a conversation in the show a few times about what is attractive to women about the bad boy.
Mm-hmm.
I think that really needs, if you're a 40-year-old bad boy, then it's too late. That's not like the whole bad boy mystique. It's got to be, you still have to have formative years in front of you. You can't be you can't be a reformed bad boy at the home.
I'll give you that. But is there a version of a bad boy at 40? Maybe it's not the same guy with chains and whatever. He's got weird hair. What is there a version of bad boy at 40 that you're like, actually, that's pretty cool. That's attractive.
I think that there could be something about the bad boy at 40 who's kind of reconfigured his life, maybe gotten sober, maybe made some bad decisions earlier in life, but now is getting on the straight and narrow. But I mean, like they have to, if that person's going to become attractive, you're probably not wanting to be the reason that they decide to stop living a life of crime.
So it's something like he's successful, maybe he's a stockbroker, but he does insider trading. Ooh, he's a bad boy.
No, because
I mean,
like that could end up he could be in jail.
Yeah.
That's not really that's not the investment you want for your future.
But in the meantime, yachts, parties, fireworks.
Are you trying to sell this to me?
Yeah, I am. I'm trying to find that particular guy.
This is all out of the conversation that I was going to highlight, which is I think that Avril Lavigne was a little bit of the bad girl that was interesting to guys like you. Just a little curiosity there.
There is something about, I don't know what you'd call it, the hot goth girl. There's something about the hot goth girl. I don't know that she was fully.
Ryan was into goth baddies.
She had a foot in the water. She wasn't all the way in.
Because probably you know she's attractive, and you know there's something else there that you haven't seen yet. That on the other side of the goth, you'd kind of like to know what that's about.
That's very true.
That's the bad guy thing.
There's a wall up. But behind that wall, she's hot.
You want that moment in the movie where she walks down the stairs in slow motion and you see her from her toes up and she's stunningly beautiful without all of that L'Oreal black on her face.
But Ryan, is it the gothness that makes her hot, or is it she's hot and she's also goth?
No, I think the gothness doesn't take away from her hotness, which is what makes it interesting.
I don't really care which direction she came at getting hot, as long as she's
that is what men do right there. You're like, Brad, you've already gone way too far into this thing.
Yeah, you're
she's hot or she's not.
That's what I was getting at. It's like it's not the bad girl or the good girlness of it that makes her attractive. It's attractive, and then she happens to be a this or she happens to be a that.
Because I don't think that any man is looking at a woman long term going, I hope she stays goth. I don't
think so either, but I don't think we're thinking that far.
I know you're not thinking it because your urges don't manifest in like cognitive words.
And if they did, we'd say things like, "My urges are manifesting on you."
Ew, get it off.
We don't.
That's why we don't do it.
We don't.
Just because you don't think it doesn't mean that there's not a thought process to it. It's just not as analytically, meticulously combed out like females do it.
Well, okay, then let me dive into goth just a little bit more.
Okay, Dr. Phil, go on.
So I do believe that there is a subset of females who have
think that you're allowed to talk like that any longer.
Who have figured out how to adopt the goth fashions, and it really works for them and does make them hotter, Brad.
Or in
Makes them hotter.
1998.
In 1998.
Yeah.
I don't know anymore.
That's because goth in 1998 going into, I would say, the period of time where alternative existed but was moving towards emo. But emo was when it went too far. Emo was trendy.
It made it mainstream. Yes, exactly.
Goth is alternative. And there was that period of time where goth was the counterculture thing to do. Emo is like, everybody's doing it. Let's do it together here. Emo.
Yeah.
And then it's like, that's actually the opposite of what goth was.
Yeah. Actually, Avril Lavigne probably would have been in that category.
She was pre-emo.
She was pre-emo, but
Avril Lavigne is not emo.
She was heading into it, making it mainstream.
She kicked the door open to it, though.
No, she did. Well, I mean, like she would be part of the timeline that got there, but emo is a response. Just like all of those emo bands were not like the punk, what would you call punk rock, right? Blink 182 is not emo.
No, they predated it also.
Blink 182 and Avril Lavigne, same lane. But because what they did was so successful and it became so popular and trendy, it turned into the thing where
became
if
marketable.
everybody is doing it, then this is not what it was. It's not an alternative, it's mainstream, which is the opposite of alternative.
Exactly. Which
Glad
is
we
why
figured this
goth
out.
was stupid.
You started this segment talking about how you liked it.
I said it was stupid, but buried beneath the facade, once in a while, you can find a hottie. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm still saying.
You're saying that even a goth clock is right twice an hour?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying.
I didn't even say
A
it
goth clock is right twice a day.
Do not title the podcast this or you're fired. I can't fire you, but
I don't know. It's a pretty good title, though.
That's not going to get clicks.
Are you sure people aren't searching for old goth titles about new podcasts?
I'll give you a goth title afterwards.
I think it's really interesting that you would talk. You have never come anywhere close to being goth.
No, I thought it was lame when I was watching it.
Well, but you're saying it was.
You guys are trying to be
you.
different. You all look the same. That's what I would say.
I don't think that I would ever have looked at like a goth guy and been like, I'd like to know more. Mm-mm.
You sure?
Mhm.
Chiseled jaw, but just real dark hair and pale.
And skinny.
Covering one eye.
Yeah, cover one eye. Exactly. A lot of chains.
Jinko jeans.
No.
Emotionally fragile.
No. It's the opposite.
No, I'm starting to think he's hot. I think that we've identified the hottest goth guy possible. It's that guy.
I don't think Ryan was talking about goth girls when he started this conversation.
Yes, I was. I'm just comfortable enough.
I didn't believe Brad until you reacted like that, and I'm like, okay, I was wrong.
We're all good. We're all good. I think everybody's learned a lot in this segment.
Yeah, probably Leanne O'Neill too, who's regretting coming on the
well,
show.
she's not
next.
listening.
What's this show like?
Yeah.
Oh.
Sorry, folks. It's Friday, and we just listened to an hour of Donald Trump talking, saying that everything is going to continue on the same way as before the Supreme Court ruled. They're just going to do it differently.
I can guarantee you one thing. That is that going into this segment, there is no way Annie thought We'll do a full segment on goth.
What are you
90s.
talking? It's in my notes right here.
No, it's not. I can see your notes.
I just ripped my paper.
You just ripped them.
No. People say to me, Annie, gosh, how do you plan for the show? And
Like
I'm
that.
like, well, I don't, because when I do, we still talk about this crap.
Yes, we do.
And I can plan for it. Man, listen. Do you want to spend the entire Friday afternoon talking about tariffs? You don't. We do have to cover the news. You will leave here informed, but we will still celebrate a Friday afternoon. When we come back, Leanne O'Neill will put the reaction, the analysis as the Chief Legal Affairs Officer for the American First Policy Institute on with us when we come back. Let's get with Leanne. If you've got questions that you would like us to ask Leanne, text us at 314-241-9797. Or as always, join us on the Annie Fry YouTube live chat. Throw your questions in there. Maybe we'll ask a few of them from Ms. O'Neill when we return. Get the reaction to the Supreme Court ruling saying that Donald Trump's tariff implementation on the grounds with which he implemented them, nope, not going to work. Little Avril Lavigne to take you into the break. Don't go away. Stewart's American Mortgage and the Bagel Loan. I would encourage you to reach out to Stewie at 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440 and ask Stewie about improving your mortgage situation for your new home purchase that you're going to make. For a refinance of your current home right now, there are a lot of benefits to making this phone call, to sending this text right now to this number that goes directly to Stewie to ask him about a bagel loan. Now, if you're getting a new mortgage or if you're getting a mortgage refinance on your current mortgage or even a cash out refinance on your current mortgage, when you use the bagel loan, you go through, you get that mortgage improvement done, and then you pay nothing. Nothing, no dollars in closing costs when you use the bagel loan at Stewart's American Mortgage. And you can't call any other lender out there and ask for a bagel loan. They don't have the bagel loan. That sticks with Stewie. 314-324-4440, 314-324-4440. Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
License number GL250000615.
Hey, it's good to see you.
Home power used to be simple. Now the car plugs in, the scooter plugs in, the space heater plugs in, and your electric panel starts popping.
That sounds bad, but I like popcorn.
Popcorn is great, sparks are not. Call Grasser. We'll upgrade your panel so you can run it all.
Electric and plumbing, the Grasser way.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group.
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw. When we meet our clients for the first time, they have built up a lifetime of savings. Their question is, what can we do with this money so we can live comfortably the rest of our lives? First, we develop a strategy to protect your nest egg from any market losses. Then, we build your own personalized structured income plan that will generate you an income the rest of your life. We put you in control of your money.
You've earned it, and it's our job to make sure you enjoy it. Let our team show you how you can have the retirement of your dreams. Call us now at 314-993-9494 for a no-cost, no-obligation retirement review. You will also get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. We've been helping retirees and pre-retirees retire with confidence for 40 years. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online at retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
We've been talking about the Supreme Court ruling on Trump's tariffs, and we are going to continue to do that here on the Annie Fry Show. Just a quick time check to let you know it's 1:31, and this time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called them. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100, and I'm telling you, I was ecstatic. Could not believe it. Would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did. They gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-491-9914. 800-491-9914. That's 800-491-9914.
Cutting through the spin. 97.1 FM Talk. St. Louis Conservative.
July. It's only been a month since I met you.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. We appreciate you spending some of your time with us. An incredibly busy news day. We want to get straight to our next guest. You know her from Sundays. You know her on Fox News, and the best guest you can possibly get for this Supreme Court ruling today on the tariffs. Let's get to our guest, Shannon Bream. Shannon, thank you so much for the time today. We appreciate it. We want to give you the floor right now to give us your analysis of what the Supreme Court ruled and what President Trump has reacted to.
Well, Annie, thank you so much for having me. I mean, 6-3, the court said the president couldn't levy these particular tariffs under that Emergency Economic Powers Act. And so they're not saying he can't levy tariffs, but they're saying there wasn't the language there. They thought not the congressional intent there to give him these sweeping powers under this particular statute. So listen, I pressed after hearing these arguments, sitting through them and thinking, oh, this was not a good day back in November when this was argued for the administration. You know, I talked to Secretary Bessent, Kevin Hassett, others. What is the plan? They didn't really want to talk about Plan B, but clearly they were calculating and thinking that through because you got to be prepared. And you heard some of that from the president today saying, listen, there are other tariffs, other levers I can use. We're immediately going to ratchet some of those up, and I'm not going to give up on using these tariffs to negotiate these trade deals. The big question the court, of course, left unanswered was, what happens when it comes to refunding the billions that have already been taken in?
Yeah, and the Supreme Court basically said, not our problem, was the way I understood that their ruling on that was, yeah, you'll have to figure that out. Shannon, when we were listening to the president speak, I thought that the headline of the press conference was really kind of something he said under his breath in response to a question from a reporter who was like asking, I don't know if it was the India question or about a specific negotiation that had taken place. Tariffs are implemented, and the question was, will those tariffs stay in place? And he kind of said under his breath, they're all going to stay in place. We're just going to do it differently.
Right. And I think that some of the tariffs that weren't part of IEEPA or that International Emergency Powers Act, they're very much still on strong legal footing. No one has questioned those. And the president may turn the dial up on those. And we got a message very early from the White House, sort of internally this morning, before we heard from the president, like any of these countries that we have these other deals with, they better not be thinking about getting froggy on us. I mean, we fully intend for those to be enforced. No court has said they can't be enforced. In fact, they've been upheld. So they're going to just use simply different statutes that the president has at his disposal. And, you know, starting today, you saw at the press conference, the percentages are going up. And he very much is going to have those enforced. And all of this is happening, you know, just weeks before he's going to go to China. They've probably been on the heaviest receiving end of these things. But President Trump says, got a good relationship with President Xi. He's going to walk in there with these other, you know, levers turned up and from a position of power. But, you know, China has got to be among the countries who are celebrating today.
Shannon Bream speaking with us right now with Fox News, of course. I'm always waiting when these things get released to listen to your thoughts on it. And it's crazy to me. I know that you have a long, storied career with the Supreme Court and understanding the function of the Supreme Court. But to get these rulings and to be reading them live on the air for you to be able to get your reaction to it, does it feel like this was a pretty concise, straightforward ruling from the Supreme Court? Do you feel like the more you dig into it, the more you're going to find out?
Well, there are so many concurrences and multiple dissents. And so whenever you see that, it's sort of a little bit of a you know, dropping of your heart, like, okay, we've got to parse through this as quickly as possible and get this right. But the six who decided the president couldn't do this under this particular law, they got there in different ways. There were subgroups, but ultimately they got to the same end result, saying the president can't do this in the way that he did it. You know, the dissenters raised a lot of good points. The president had praise for them today. One of his appointees, Justice Kavanaugh, led the dissenters. Thomas Alito joined him. But, man, he had some tough language for a couple of his other appointees. Gorsuch and Barrett were with the majority. And even though, like I said, there were these subgroups that got there in different ways, there was agreement that was pretty clear that it just wasn't a viable option for the president to do these tariffs under this particular law.
We're speaking with Shannon Bream, Fox News Sunday host. We encourage you to watch that show. It's a great way to start your week, end your week, however you look at Sunday, and also the author of Nothing is Impossible with God, which is coming out in March. I want to ask you about some of the, I didn't catch the name of the person who was standing to Secretary of Commerce Lutnick's left, but he came on and President Trump kind of deferred to him, and he started kind of talking some more wonky details for, the civilians out there like us, but he was talking about, I think it was like a Section 122. There were a couple of other things that he listed. And it made it seem as though the administration was prepared for this ruling to come out the way it did, even though it's not the one they wanted. But my question is was the Emergency Powers Act the fast and furious way for the president to do the tariffs the way he wanted to? Now there's another way to do it, but it's just maybe a little more meticulous and going to take a little more time.
Yeah, Annie, you are exactly right, because under what they try to do under these emergency powers, there were broad, sweeping, multiple tariffs that went out very broadly. They were the Liberation Day tariffs, if people remember those from last April. And there were some other ones as well that were specifically supposed to be about cutting down on drug trafficking. But they were a good way for the president to take a sweeping brush on these tariffs at one time. So, yes, they've clearly talked about this. I think it was probably the trade ambassador, Jameson Greer. I was listening to audio, but I think that it was hard to hear him. I think that's who it was. He's going to join us on Sunday to walk us through this and what their next plans are. So, yes, it'll be sort of more time-consuming, meticulous, and detailed, but those levers are there.
Can you talk to us a little bit, Shannon, about the Emergency Powers Act? I'm always one that likes to talk in, to define those boldface. I always think about my fifth grade civics textbook where you've got a word and we in the industry start using these words that might leave some people who are just coming into the conversation behind. IEPA is a word that's getting used over and over and over again. Can you talk to us a little bit about that foundational purpose that Donald Trump was trying to use to implement these tariffs, what that was and why it doesn't apply?
Yeah, that federal law goes back decades. In fact, we got a statement from Senator Chuck Grassley, who's in the realm of 90 years old. And after the ruling today, and he said, by the way, I was around when we passed IEPA. I know exactly what we were trying to do there. So it was funny to hear from him, but just a reminder of how long-standing this particular statute is. So it's the International Economic Emergency Powers Act, and it gives the president the authority in a national emergency to regulate the importation of certain goods. Now that you heard the president say this today, and this was part of their argument at the arguments November 5th back at the Supreme Court, listen, if you give him the power to regulate importation, how could that not also extend to tariffs? That could be part of regulating importation. But the majority here said, no, the word tariff is not in that federal law that is decades old. The word tariff is not in there. And what, a lot of the opponents were arguing, and they argued at the Supreme Court, was, listen, what's turning out with these tariffs, they're turning out to be taxes. They're raising revenue. And that is something that's only the purview, a tax, of the legislative branch. So the president can't do this without some specific language telling him that, Congress has specifically delegated this to him. Now, the president's attorneys, the Solicitor General, argued these aren't taxes, they're tariffs. Tariffs are just meant to be negotiating prods and pushes with our partners, our enemies, our allies, whoever we have these trade deals with. But it was noted in the court, the president has talked about all of the revenue that's come in from these tariffs, and that's been a big talking point for him. Look how it's helped the economy. Look how it's helped to bring down the deficit. So the justices didn't seem to buy, you can say it's not a tax. It is producing revenue. And that seems to be how the court ultimately viewed it under this statute. There's no purview for tariffs. That wording isn't in there. They viewed it as a tax and said the president just doesn't have the right to do that.
Shannon Bream speaking with us right now, host of Fox News Sunday with Shannon Bream, which airs here 8 a.m. Central. Also author of the book coming out, Nothing is Impossible with God. I want to talk to you a little bit and get your thoughts on what this Supreme Court ruling means for the authority of the executive office. I've heard a lot of discussion this morning over the expanding powers and authority and maybe, just authority taking the executive branch has done, not just with President Trump's administration, but others here recently, and reinforcing the power of the purse that belongs with Congress. Just the balance of powers, because that's really what the Constitution is trying to do, checks and balances, the Supreme Court to weigh in on the Constitution's behalf. does this really box in a little bit more the executive branch in a way that it hasn't been here recently?
Well, so many of the big decisions that come through the Supreme Court are all about that balance. How much power does the executive branch have? And we're waiting now for a couple of other big decisions on cases that the court has heard with respect to the executive branch's power for the president to hire and fire people off of federal agencies, including the Federal Reserve. I mean, so there are always cases that involve the president's executive power and how far it goes. But clearly here the court is not shy about limiting it where they think the president has overstepped. That's always been the case with this court. And people may forget this president has lost a number of decisions in his first term and with this court where they thought that he was out of bounds. And, today we've got all these Democrats from, Senator Chuck Schumer to Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries saying the court got it right, all this praise for the court, where in the past they've been really very negative about the court, saying it needs to be expanded, it needs to have term limits. But today, these different lawmakers on the left are very happy about the court's decision to rein in executive power when it comes to these tariffs.
It's like the political winds of change, I think. There, Shannon Bream speaking with us right now. What about the ramifications of what President Trump is now being kind of restricted through the implementation of his tariff program through that particular means? I mean, it is a bit of a limitation on the executive branch. I mean, I would assume that this should, in 2028, J.D. Vance doesn't win the presidency or whomever wins the nomination, a Democrat's in power. Of course, it would limit the office of the executive, not just the Republican currently in office right now.
Yeah, and it's always about that. Like we said, it's just always about finding this balance of power. And interestingly enough, Justice Gorsuch wrote in his concurrence, agreeing with the majority, he said, there are going to be people disappointed about this today, those who were supportive of the president's tariffs under this law. And he said, but this is really about Congress. This is about the tough work they have to do. And he said, legislating is hard, it's cumbersome, but there's a point to it. There's a point so that other administrations down the line will also have checks and balances on what they do. And Congress is the place where all of these really major sweeping things that affect the American people, that's where these things should be decided. It shouldn't be an executive branch issue. And he said, as disappointed as some people are today, I think he said, over time, history shows us that there's going to be a time that these protections are in place when we're saying this isn't an executive power, this is for Congress. So that was his take on how he got to his decision on limiting the president here.
Well, Shannon Bream, thank you so much for the time today. We're so grateful for it. I'm going to encourage the president to read the book, Nothing is Impossible with God, to give him some peace today and some resolve. It sounds to me like he did lose the battle, but the war is still upon him, and he's still going to have to just show up and keep fighting for his tariffs. He's got some things in his back pocket that he can pull out to continue on the path.
Yep, more tools are there. Annie, thanks for having me.
Of course. Talk to you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye. Shannon Bream, chief legal correspondent for Fox News, also host of Fox News Sunday with Shannon Bream. Incredible to be able to get her thoughts on here. We've been asking a lot of people to come on today, and we had multiple people calling at one time, and we're grateful to get Shannon's opinions and thoughts on that today. Let's take a break here. The YouTube poll for today was supposed to be centered around our 1 o'clock guest, which we've rescheduled to next week. Chris Slusser, who is the Madison County Board Chairman. There's a data center that is being discussed to be put in Madison County. And of course, we've heard about these data centers and where they're going. St. Charles County has, I think, had these discussions among other places around here. We were going to talk to him at 1:05 about the data center that was going to come in and his thoughts on it, support for the ideas of data centers, but also being very specific about where the data center can and should go in. We're going to have that conversation a little bit later next week. But our YouTube poll for you today is, do you support data centers within your county? Yes, possibly depending on location, or no. Go vote in the poll. We'll be back in just a minute. Air Comfort Service, online at aircomfortservice.com. There's a really important deal for you to know about right now when you call 314-513-0091. That's 314-513-0091. If you have considered that the insulation in your home is degraded over time, it does. Maybe you're heating and cooling your home and it's running and the air is blowing warm and the air in the winter is blowing cool, but it's just not doing the trick. It just seems like it's running all the time. You might have an insulation problem that you need to deal with. Right now, they're offering 15% off blown-in attic insulation from Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation, plus 1 year of HVAC maintenance for free. With proper attic insulation, you're going to be able to reduce those energy bills maybe up to 30%. So consider right now the opportunity to save 15% off that blown-in insulation in your home. And those energy bills, those savings, that's going to add up real fast. Call 314-513-0091. That's 314-513-0091. And reach out to Air Comfort Service and ask them about your insulation questions. They'll be happy to talk to you. Make sure you heard about it. Tell them you heard about them on the Annie Fry Show. You can learn more online at aircomfortservice.com.
Let's show our appreciation for local heroes. Mark Cox here. Nominate a first responder and their department could get lunch from Grill Master Tony's. I'll personally deliver it. Share their story at 971talk.com. Nominate them today.
This is Tom Ackerman for Ophthalmology Associates. You know, the doctors, or just the best doctors to see for your best vision in St. Louis. 314-966-5000, the doctors. They've treated more than 250 doctors. That's more than any other practice. Dr. Greg Birdie, Dr. Ranjan Malhotra, Dr. Robert Bersati, Dr. Andy Royer. 314-966-5000 is their phone number. 314-966-5000. Dr. Birdie, Dr. Malhotra are cornea surgeons and experts in diagnosis and treatment of diseases of the eye, dry eye, allergy eye, cataracts, macular degeneration, glaucoma, LASIK surgery. The Doctors of Ophthalmology Associates, experts. Call for an appointment today, 314-966-5000, or visit them online, youridoc.com, 12990 Manchester Road, quarter mile west of 270. 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com.
Hi, it's Mark Cox with Gloria Liu of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Welcome back, Gloria. For years now, you've been on 97.1 helping families plan that next big move with your Guaranteed Sold program. For those planning to sell their home this year, what's your advice for sellers?
Thank you. My advice is simple. Do your homework before listing your home. Our market is stabilizing, inventory is tightening and moving fast. In other words, the realtor you choose to sell your home really matters. That's why my sellers love my Guaranteed Sale program. I guarantee to sell your home at your agreed upon price and time frame, or I will buy it myself. I have thousands of buyers in my buyers in waiting database, so your home may already been sold before it's ever hit the market. Higher demand, more competition, and more money for your home.
Friends, do what I did. Call Gloria Liu right now at 314-325-6888. That's 314-325-6888. Or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Gloria and seller must agree upon price and possession date.
Doesn't it feel like you hear all the time from retired friends and family, I wish someone had told me this before I retired? Or why didn't anybody tell me this? Why is this not a class? Well, that's exactly why Financial and Tax Architects was founded. FTA keeps hardworking families in St. Louis make sense of retirement. They show them how to keep more of what they've earned and how to make it last. That way you can get some sleep at night. You don't have to second guess every expense leading up to retirement. You understand what's going on. Their Retirement Planning 101 class is a practical, no-cost course. They teach it at local colleges. It's just one night. You learn strategies to reduce taxes, plan your income, make confident decisions about Social Security and taxes and inflation. And FTA focuses on education. They try to change the way you retire. Call 888-5101 or go to fta-ria.com to register.
Annie Fry is St. Louis conservative.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Data centers. Do you know a lot about data centers?
Well, just what I think everybody else knows at this point.
No, I don't think everybody else knows. I don't think it's safe to assume anybody knows anything about them.
Then I would say I know more than anybody.
Just tell me what you know. That's the conversation we're trying to have here.
that they are huge energy suckers, but that they are needed for technological growth. And I know that they don't employ a lot of people, but they do bring some sort of revenue once you have one.
What I mean, okay, so the system needs more data centers.
Right.
With that being understood, I was going to ask all of these questions of Chris Slusser, who we will reconnect with next week, and maybe even have a longer conversation with him. I'm excited about it because I wanted to learn what's the payoff to the region to put it in. Because my understanding is that there's an energy suck and a water conflict
for cooling. I think the payoff is that there's probably some taxes and there's benefits to having them because they have to pay to exist. So I think in that sense, you're probably making a little bit of money on them. I don't think they're employing a lot of people, but they are employing some people. It's not as if you have nobody else.
I mean, the payoff isn't jobs.
No, it's not jobs.
It's got to be, there's got to be a revenue injection into the communities that welcome them in. And I'm just, I don't know enough about it. And like I said, we were going to have a guest on so I could honestly ask these questions. Like, well, why would you do it? It's a huge resource suck on the area that it comes out of. That's my.
And what's the gain?
Yeah. So what's the trade-off? I mean, if there's always a trade-off.
I don't know. I know that there is a gain because I know enough people locally who say, well, this is something we should consider because we'll benefit from it. But to answer the connecting point A to point B, I don't know exactly what that is. Like how do we gain from having one of those around?
Well, the question for us that we're posing to you on the YouTube live chat poll today is, do you support data centers within your county? Yes, possibly, depending on the location, or no. This poll is I almost thought about just scrapping it and doing it another time, which is what people are suggesting they should do with the data centers. Scrap it and do it at a different time. What do you think about Shannon Bream's thoughts on that? On the tariffs, not on the data centers.
She's the best in the game at it. Obviously, she knows what she's talking about. It was great to get her because she's been on Fox News all day. I can't believe she even fit us in. But
yeah, neither could we.
Yeah,
we didn't.
Like,
we asked.
Hello there.
Yeah, they got back to us, but in the flurry of craziness throughout the course of the beginning of the show, it was exciting to have her on.
I was glad to hear from her what you're hearing from many others, including Trump, because Trump obviously is going to give you the version that benefits hopefully himself and the country the most. He's thinking that way. But she seemed to verify what he was saying, that, yeah, there are a lot of other avenues for him to use to continue to do tariffs, and he's already announcing them. So to see a big change here, I don't know that you're really – the worry was from a lot of conservatives, is this going to derail the president's economic agenda? And from listening to her, I don't get the sense that it will.
Slow it down, muck it up.
It may add layers, but I don't know that we're going to really notice that. That's them. That's their stuff they got to deal with at that level. I don't know that a country is going to go, oh, good, now there's an extra 10 days that I have to wait for the tariff or whatever it ends up being. I don't think that changes a lot.
The way the Epstein files are in the news right now, it was like redactions. Here's some files. Here's a little here. Here's a little there. And then all of a sudden it was like, throw the doors open. Here's everything. Elvis is in the Epstein files. So it was almost like the pendulum swung to kind of make a mockery of here's all the information. Now we're talking about the alien files.
Yeah, let's go.
I mean, I cannot hear our government start talk about aliens as a concerted effort and message and not think that it is time to be distracted.
Well, didn't this one come because like Barack Obama said something about it?
You think he's not in on it?
You think that he wanted to distract?
I think there's a lot of people who want to distract.
I don't know. I still have no solid footing for any of the aliens.
You know my theory.
Anytime something big.
When the swamp wants you distracted, two things happen. It's usually school shootings and aliens. So I hope I'm wrong this time. I don't know. I almost am considering a 2 p.m. poll. Should I change it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do this poll on Monday.
You get until 2 o'clock to vote in the data center poll, and then I'm changing it. Annie Fry YouTube channel. We'll be back in a minute.
With low energy, weight gain, or issues in the bedroom, Game Day Men's Health is the premier men's health clinic in the St. Louis area with locations in Chesterfield and O'Fallon, Missouri. They specialize in low testosterone and sexual health, and they also help men and women with medical weight loss, vitamins, and peptides. They offer free consultations and testosterone tests with results in about 20 minutes. Get in, get answers, get back to the top of your game. Visit GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Again, that's GameDayMen'sHealth.com.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
We depend on our roofs to keep us dry and protected year-round. That's why the roofing company you choose is so important. Mark Cox here for my friends at Correll Roofing Company. You can trust my friend Curtis Correll. And here's one thing he'll tell you right now, and it's his experience. A lot of roofing companies will try to install roofs when the temperature is below freezing. And here's what you need to know. Curtis has been praised by a lot of people in the industry because he will not install a roof on those cold days. He said that shingle manufacturers will deny warranty claims if that roof is installed on a sub 40 degree day. Did you know that? That's why honesty is important. If your insurance company has denied coverage for your roof, call Curtis at Correll Roofing. He loves working with insurance companies. He would be happy to get a second assessment from them. Call him at 314-222-9529. Tell him Mark Cox sent you. You can go online anytime at CorrellRoofingCo.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
KFTK FM Florissant from the Kaufman Townsley St. Louis's Injury Lawyers Studio. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation. Weather.
A fair share of sunshine on this Friday afternoon. It's windy and 49, but it's a little chilly if you're caught in that wind. Clear skies this evening, clouds late night 32. The weekend, Saturday, a sprinkler snow flurry first thing in the morning. Otherwise, partly sunny skies and 43. Sunny and 38 on Sunday. Enjoy the weekend. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
The president's not backing down on Lisa Brady, Fox News. He's pivoting to alternatives after the Supreme Court struck down his use of the Emergency Powers Act for tariffs.
Foreign countries that have been ripping us off for years are ecstatic. They're so happy. And they're dancing in the streets, but they won't be dancing for long. That I can assure you.
He says today's ruling clarifies how many alternatives he has. For now, settling on one.
Today, I will sign an order to impose a 10% global tariff under Section 122, over and above our normal tariffs already being charged.
3 conservative justices to do what's right for the country. The ruling did not address money already collected. Some Democrats calling for refunds of the tariffs struck down. The president also taking questions on Iran and saying he feels bad for the Iranian people.
Very, very Very sad situation.
A second U.S. aircraft carrier set to arrive in the region.
The president, when asked, said he is considering a limited strike on Iran. Iran has vowed to respond with ballistic and cruise missiles targeting U.S. bases in the Gulf if the U.S. does that. Sometime in the next month, the U.S. could find itself in another war in the Middle East without a clear exit strategy. The amount of military hardware the Pentagon is positioning in the region signals to most military observers that it is not a question of if, but when.
Fox's Jennifer Griffin. Iran has pushed back on U.S. demands for zero uranium enrichment. The U.S. Transportation Secretary just announcing all truckers and bus drivers will have to take commercial driver's license tests in English. America is listening to Fox News.
All right, fellas, 2 words for you. Prostate exam. Did your butt just clench up? Are you imagining the finger right now? Well, you can relax. Prostate cancer screening starts with a simple, finger-free blood test. Around 1 in 8 men in the United States will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in their lifetime. But that's no reason to reclench. When caught early, at localized or even regional stage, prostate cancer can have over a 99% 5-year relative survival rate. Did your tight end just relax? Good. If you're 40 or older and have a prostate, visit RelaxIt'sABloodTest.com to find out if a PSA blood test is right for you. The PSA blood test can be the first step in screening. Talk to your doctor to evaluate your risk, determine when to get tested, and discuss screening options and next steps. That's RelaxIt'sABloodTest.com. Sponsored by Novartis.
The Annie Fry Show is sponsored by Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation. Air Comfort Service is celebrating 56 years of residential and commercial service, maintenance and installation, and heating and cooling systems. Get in your comfort zone. AirComfortService.com.
Annie Fry, Ryan Wiggins, Brad Rain.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
For goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show on 97.1 FM Talk.
I know this is not like, this is really behind the scenes stuff, I guess, but I feel like I'm out of breath. Fridays is where I feel like we come in here and we put our feet up and we just kind of wind down for the weekend.
Out of breath metaphorically. You're not physically out of breath.
No, I think you can tell I'm not physically out of breath.
You didn't run
not
to the
that
mic.
out of shape.
Okay. Because I sometimes will get out of breath, actually.
Sitting?
Yes. It's because of my diet.
Listen, this is all you, buddy. I'm not contributing to this at all. I'm gonna look at the support data centers within your county poll here and end it, and then I'm gonna. What was I gonna change the poll to?
Something about aliens.
Aliens.
I don't remember what though. Did you have it in mind?
Somewhere. I'll have to go find the file.
Okay.
Seriously. Oh man, it's just you plan a day. Today we had guests booked to talk about data centers and the air show. Because the Blue Angels are coming back.
Oh, I didn't know we were talking about the air show today.
We were going to, but we moved Mark Sutherland to another day. So, But you can buy tickets. I'm going to just not compensated for this. I don't have anything to do with it. I just am now feel very connected to the air show. You can get tickets now.
All right.
And I'm 100% going again this year. And everybody I talk to, I'm like, you need to see these things in action. It's incredible. What a huge story too for St. Louis to get the Boeing headquarters moved back to here from Virginia. Governor, is it Spanberger?
Yep.
She's going to be the Democratic response to the State of the Union. Of all of the people right now, the woman who ran as a moderate and won Virginia back for the blue side as the governor, and then went in and went like maniacally super far leftist crazy. Okay, like Democrats believe them when they tell you who they are. The hardest thing that is in politics, I think, is the response to the State of the Union. And Katie Britz, remember Senator Britz and Joe Biden's last one?
I'll never forget it.
Oh man, it was like some sort of weird ASMR politics thing, and the whole time I physically felt uncomfortable watching her sit at her kitchen. She was sitting at that kitchen table, and she was talking like this, and it was so dramatic. And I'm like, no, Joe Biden's a terrible president. Just say that, and let's get to it.
It was like they hired a local theater actress to play a senator.
I like how you said local.
Well,
not just
because you know
a
they're
theater
not bad.
actress.
They're not good. I mean that it was amazing, and there's not a person alive that watched that and went, "That was great." Now there's people that spun it, but that was their job to spin it.
No, I don't think there was anybody who successfully spun that to the positive. So President Trump's State of the Union on Tuesday will be in front of, this is one of the things they covered in that press conference there, if he would disinvite them to the State of the Union. First of all, do you know that the State of the Union does not happen until the House invites the president to address the joint Congress?
I did not know that.
Yes, the speaker has to invite the president to do the address. And
So theoretically, you could have a speaker not invite the president?
Nancy Pelosi was in charge of that for a bit, and there was some back and forth. One of the addresses that President Trump did was much later than they traditionally are. I think they were fighting over something, if you can imagine that. Might have been the year she tore it up. Remember that?
Class act. Speaking of theatrical.
She's she's not going to be there after this November. I mean, she's not running for re-election. So is this the 100 and this is how I don't know that I have a photographic memory, but it's either is it the 103rd or the 108th Congress? I can't remember. Or is it further than that? She's not going to be in it. So I wonder if that makes her more powerful because she's a speaker emeritus. That's Nancy Pelosi's status right now. But what is it?
119th.
Oh, it's not even close. Wonder what I'm thinking of. Maybe the famous 103rd and 108th Congress.
You're thinking of notable congresses.
Okay. Sure. The president's State of the Union, this tariff thing coming down right now. I mean, the Supreme Court justices sit there in the front row. They don't have to come. They can come. And often they don't all come. So which of them will be there? I think Chief Justice Roberts is usually there. I know that there are Democrats who have said that they are not going to come. What do you think about that? Like, what is the proper way to show dissatisfaction at a State of the Union? Because you remember when Marjorie Taylor Greene was screaming she was talking about Laken Riley because I think Biden called her Lincoln Riley, called her the wrong name, and she was hollering out. So both sides do it. Last year, what was the congressman's name? I can picture him. He walks with a cane.
Oh, yeah.
He was shouting about impeachment or something like that.
Al Green? Is that right?
Maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He was removed.
Yeah.
Speaker Johnson had to step up because it's the Speaker's house, had to step up and call for order, and they wouldn't, and he had the Sergeant of Arms remove him. I would really like for the speech to just be the speech. I don't need Republicans shouting out things at the Democrat president. I don't need the Democrats shouting them out at Trump. You want to one year all the women wore white or something like that because of all of there was a historical number of women in Congress, and the Democrats certainly led that. I don't mind those types of organized protests. It is what it is, but when you have the Marjorie Taylor Greenes hollering things out, then it's about her. And I really, when I'm watching Congress do congressional things, when I start to notice that, gosh, it really seems like everything that congressperson does is about that congressperson, I become very viscerally recoiling.
Yeah, they're trying to become influencers instead of congresspeople. I am fine with the protests. The wearing all white, all that stuff, that's fine.
Hollering?
I don't think you should interrupt the president. And that's both parties. I'm trying to apply this equally on either side. And I don't really like it when Republicans do it.
How about a collective groan from one side or the other?
I'd be kind of okay. I'm kind of okay with that because you're not interrupting. You're sort of reacting. You're not screaming things. I would even be okay if one side decided to boo or something. As long as you're not.
As long as, like the Princess Bride.
As long as you're not.
Boo!
Yeah, it'd have to be.
Boo!
Again, it would
You
have
should
to
dress
be
in rags.
very crazy for me to really enjoy it.
And it'd be a dream sequence.
But I don't mind the protests. I don't know where the line is exactly, but I just don't. I do know that what's over the line is somebody standing up and screaming things and making it about themselves, because you're into influencer territory then.
Is it okay to be influencery? I mean, Tim Burchett is very influencery, and I love it. So it's like, if it's, is that what he's, because, okay, what is an influencer versus somebody who's an informer? Because if you're using social media to inform the people who you were there to represent of what's going on, I guess maybe it's just very subjective.
An influencer is going to have a career outside of Congress the minute they leave Congress.
And is that why they're in Congress?
And that's why they're in Congress. And a lot of times they're just doing it because of speaking engagements, and they're getting money elsewhere. And they want to become that thing. I don't see Tim Burchett being that at all. That guy, he's become an influencer, not in the sense that we use that word. He's influential because he's a smart guy, and he's funny, and he's quick, and he's been there for a while. It's not as if he was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go get plastic surgery and become a congressperson. Like that's not.
You don't think Burchett's had a little work done there?
I have no idea. I don't think so.
Very, very handsome.
I don't think so. And I would put Jerry Nadler in that same category. I think he's been untouched.
Both au naturel.
Exactly.
As far as
and that's why I respect both Tim Burchett and Jerry Nadler.
That's why you respect them.
And that is my point of even being here today, is to get that sentence out. The two best congressmen in America. There was a loud sigh from off the camera somewhere.
Is Nadler still running?
No, he's done. This is his last term.
Wow. It's going to be a new day in Congress.
And realistically speaking, Tim Burchett is awesome.
He's amazing.
He's been put in charge basically of Doge now, for whatever Doge has become. And I couldn't think of a better guy to be running that thing.
He's the guy that you want to be sitting near in the back of the room when the things are happening.
Yeah.
You want to hear his quips.
And for him to be getting more and more authority and ability to accomplish things in Congress, he's got his head on very straight.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
One of two folks in Congress really repping the Carhartt.
Yeah.
Do you know who number two is?
No, I don't.
John Fetterman.
Oh,
different kind of Carhartt, but Carhartt nonetheless.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be back in just a minute. I'm going to change the YouTube poll. Never done this before in the middle of the show, at least not to my recollection. Do you support data centers within your county? We might revisit this one next week when we have Chris Slusser in studio with us. And we'll do an aliens one. Is that what I said I was going to do?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what I said I was going to do? Aliens?
Yeah.
Sure.
Still don't know what the question is, though.
Oh, yes, you do. We'll be back in a minute. Don't go away. The Retirement Advisory Group. Find them online at retirementkey.com. Meet up with Thomas Helbig, Bob Kershaw, and Tammy Kershaw and start talking about that transitionary period. Yes, you need to save for retirement, but you've known that. You've been doing it for decades. And now is the time to ensure that when you move into retirement, that you are in fact going to be able to have that retirement of your dreams. You've worked your tail off to get to this place. You want to make sure that you don't do it too soon, that you're able to lock in all of the market gains that you've enjoyed. Right now, I'm looking at the market. It's looking pretty good right now, too. You got to lock in when it's high. But what are the steps you need to do to get through that process? Got to talk to the Retirement Advisor Group, and they're going to be able to help you. 314-993-9494. That's 314-993-9494. Reach out to the Retirement Advisory Group online at retirementkey.com.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
No paint, don't Rhino. Go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon with Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage. We are in the 6th hottest real estate market in the country, Stewie. What can buyers in St. Louis do to gain that advantage with you?
You know what, Mark? It's real simple. Number one, the Bagel loan. Bagel looks like a zero, easy to remember. No closing costs, no title fees, no lender fees, no appraisal fees. The Big Bagel looks like a zero, easy to remember. Take that money you're saving, add it to the bid, beat all the other offers out. Number two, we give you the power of the pre-approval letter. What does that mean? We pre-approve you for the maximum amount that you qualify for. You can then go into our portal and edit the letter and raise it or lower it to any amount you want up to the amount you pre-approved. No waiting for the loan officer, no waiting for anybody else. It's all in your hands. And the third thing, we can close in 10 days. That's a big deal. If you go to the seller and say, hey, here's my offer. It may not be the best, but we can close quick. Everybody else is 30 days out. You know it's going to happen quickly with our reputation. Big bam, boom, you got the house of your dreams.
Call or text Stewie at 314-324-4440 or Google the Bagel Loan. NMLS number 226715.
Start the new year off on a healthier note by taking active liver supplements from New Nordic every day. Available online at Amazon or newnordicusa.com or at your local CVS, ShopRite, Meijer Grocery, or Wegmans.
The Annie Fry Show is St. Louis conservative.
If everybody had a nose across the USA, then
Welcome back to the
everybody
Annie Fry Show. We wrapped the original poll question that we'll revisit next week when we have our guest, and President Trump spoke. Supreme Court ruled on the tariffs and said that the president cannot implement the tariffs the way he was doing it. The president, as he spoke for about, 50 minutes or so, said that they have lots of other ways they can implement it. Probably going to take a little bit longer, be a little bit more tedious, but he's still moving forward with his tariffs. So we were going to talk about data centers today. We were going to punt that to next week, but the original question we asked you is, do you support data centers within your county? Yes, no, and we didn't have, there's the third option was possibly, depending on location. 17% of 181 people said that they do support them. 35% say no. 48% said possibly, depending on the location, which means the half of you, I guess, are open to it, which is interesting. That'll make that conversation with Chris Slusser next week even more compelling. Looking forward to doing that. The new poll question for today, which we just threw up, and we've got 35 minutes to get your thoughts in, so come back and join us on the Annie Fry YouTube channel and vote. Is the alien discussion a distraction? If you are like me, you think that the government starts talking about aliens when they don't want you to pay attention to the other things. So we're asking you, do you think that the President Donald Trump has said that he's going to open and disclose. He's said to the Secretary of War, we're going to disclose what's going on with aliens, get that information out there to the other departments who might have necessary documents. Let's reveal them to the American people. And he said that right after Barack Obama said on a podcast, didn't he say, yeah, they're aliens?
Yeah. He pretty much just dropped that little note.
Then he clarified it. And then he was like, well, I didn't say they were aliens, but... And then he started talking about where they aren't.
Oh, I didn't see the follow-up.
Yeah, he's like, they're not buried underground at Area 51. The stuff's not. He just kind of went into some details there. We'll play some of those clips for you here in a little bit. So we're asking you, do you think the alien discussion is a distraction? It is not 12:45. It is 2:21, and it is time for the Be or Not the Bee.
Wiggins! Oh, Wiggins!
The Be or Not the Bee.
This is a series of news stories, some of which are real and some are fake from the Babylon Bee, making them satire. I'll read the headlines. You tell me whether they are real or fake. The first one is AOC condemns Spain for stealing Mexico's language.
See. Verdad.
Brad?
I don't know how to say B in Spanish, but maybe.
Yeah, no, I think this one
La
is going to be real.
This is the B. Quote, everyone forgets about these historical travesties, but not me, AO said. AOC said. AO said. I won't stay quiet any longer and watch as Spain continues to get off the hook for the atrocious thefts of the early modern period.
Abeja. That's B.
Thank you. Who came up with caballeros in the first place anyway? I know it was Mexico, since I've heard Abba's Fernando just as much as anyone. Plus, the word caballero is Spanish, which is Mexican. Just goes in circles.
Gosh, we didn't dive into much AOC critique after her Munich display. It was so bad, and she is getting so trounced everywhere on it. I was like, I don't really need to pile on.
Yeah.
I think everybody gets the point.
Yep.
Except for her.
Yeah, I don't know whether she'll come out of this unscathed or not. She seems to most of the time. Next one is Trump honors Hillary Clinton with new federal holiday called Almost President's Day.
B. La abeja.
I'm going to say B.
It is the B, but doesn't it sound like something he would do?
Yeah, these are all these stories are suggestions.
Yeah. According to sources in the federal government, the day was instituted to recognize the achievements and almost sufficient popularity of such forgotten underdogs as Clinton, Al Gore, and Aaron Burr. Quote, this is a momentous day, said a federal spokesperson. Quote, the nation's eyes are all upon those who could have been president if they hadn't been total losers.
Yeah. You can read their books, though.
Yes, you can. Yes,
and they would like for you to.
All right, next one is this new video game is surging in popularity after telling LGBTQ activists there are no gay romance options.
The video game is surging in popularity?
Surging in popularity.
Real.
Yeah, real, for sure.
Yeah, this is real. The conflict began when the game's X account shared a picture of Amelie, one of the fair maidens in this game whose heart you can try to win in the game.
Is she goth?
No, she's just a fair maiden.
What would you call, in the olden times, a goth?
Somebody who
Probably
rubbed all
gothic.
kind of like dirt on their face. Yeah. Because you didn't really have the eyeliner.
Yeah.
Just call her misunderstood.
That's much better. Or ma'am understood.
They usually called her witch.
Yeah.
It's ma'am.
You see? That was one of those
That's
slow.
not goth. That's not.
That was a good one.
That's something else.
Yeah. So this is a game where the developer basically, people were getting online and saying that they demand queer representation in the game. The developer basically said, shut up, we don't care. And then the online boycott started against the game. But the article says a few years ago, such a backlash might have spelled doom for a small indie studio. But instead, the opposite has happened. Knight's Path is the name of the game, is now one of the top trending games on Steam with over 200,000 wish lists.
Listen, I promise you the gaming community, even a few years ago or in the height of wokeism, would have jumped at this game if they'd have come out and said, too bad, we're not doing it.
Which they did. Next one, in historic first.
Are you saying the gaming community is
based?
They support what the guy said online.
The whole gaming community? I feel like
I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I have a different. I would assume that there are multiple cultures within the gaming community.
There is
like the idea of role playing. I would think that there would be a contingent of people who would be very mad about it.
There's not a big enough contingent of those people to make a difference in a.
But aren't there a lot of games where you have a lot of that stuff? So it's, I mean, there's a difference. Like, I would almost think that reaching into a community in a portion of the gaming community who doesn't want that stuff would certainly probably be the underserved community right now.
Yes.
Because this stuff exists everywhere.
Right.
It's not like the gaming community as a whole is anti-gay.
It's not anti-gay, but they are like, we're done with this. We don't want this injected into games that are supposed to be based in reality or in a historical event. Like there were games out there, they're like, but there's not people of color represented in there. So like, well, it's set in Sweden in 700. There's not going to be.
That actually is addressed in this one too, because it's called Knight's Path. It's a medieval game, and so they all look European.
No homosexuality in the royalty times, no?
Well, I think one of the things they're addressing here is that they're mostly white people. And people are like, that's not okay. You're not representing. They're like, it's a Renaissance game.
Yeah.
So, yeah, get over it.
Kind of like white Jesus.
Sure.
Jesus wasn't white.
No.
Right. All right. Next one. In historic first, socialist runs out of money.
Ooh, I don't know. In historic first. Just by phrasing, I'm going to go the B.
Yeah, the B.
That is correct. According to economic historian Michael
Mamdani?
Bilber, Mamdani has proven that the typical bulletproof fundamentals of socialism may have some holes. Quote, socialist governments generally have too much money and never need to resort to abusing their people, he said. The USSR was a futuristic utopia where nothing bad ever happened. That's why it remains the thriving example of societal greatness that it is today. It's truly surprising to see it fail in New York. I'm not sure what Mamdani's problem is, said this historian.
It's just not a good enough socialist, maybe.
I guess not. He's not doing the right kind of socialism.
This one's wrong, too.
Got to try it different. All right, next one is Altered Peanut Butter Cups, Peanut Butter Cup Air, Brad Reese.
Real.
Real?
This is real. Yeah, there's trouble brewing in chocolate land as Brad Reese, the grandson of the inventor of Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, has lashed out at Hershey for tainting the brand. He said, quote, my grandfather, H.B. Reese, who invented Reese's, built Reese's on a simple, enduring architecture. Milk chocolate.
Interrupt.
Yeah.
Who invented what?
Reese's?
I appreciate that you say Reese's.
Me too.
And not Reese's.
Okay.
You ever hear people say Reese's?
Yes.
Yeah.
Usually,
sounds like feces.
Yes, it does. Never would have thought about that. Reese's. I always hear that more in reference to the candies than the peanut butter cups, but I will hear it sometimes.
What do you classify the peanut butter cups as?
It's talking
candy.
about the pieces, right?
No, what this article is talking about the peanut butter cups, but really the peanut butter in general.
The peanut butter cups are candy.
Yes. So are the Reese's Pieces. I hear people say Reese's when they're referring to the Reese's Pieces more than the cups.
Why would you say Reese's? I'm not arguing with you in the fact that that's what you hear, but I would think it would be the easier thing to say Reese's Pieces because it rhymes as opposed to Reese's Pieces.
Well, they don't
That's
say
a
pieces.
lot of work.
They just say Reese's.
Pieces?
they just say Reese's.
You got any Reese's Pieces?
No.
It's my favorite candy.
The Pieces or the...
I don't like Pieces.
The Cuppies. Anyway.
Pieces.
Today, Reese's identity is being rewritten, according to Brad Reese.
Yeah, we're trying real hard right here.
Yeah, we are. Not by storytellers, but by formulation decisions that replace milk chocolate with compound coatings and peanut butter with peanut butter-style creams across multiple Reese's products.
My dear, sweet 4-year-old daughter got done with her Valentine's Day party, which was postponed because everybody's so sick everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And she gets in the car yesterday and she's got her candy out. And she's like, Mommy, I got this for you. So she got something from her friends and she wanted me to have it. Well, it was a Reese's Heart. It was a soft pink color.
The chocolate?
Yeah. And I almost, I wanted to be, I didn't want it.
Okay.
But I didn't have the heart to tell her no. Because she curated this to give to her mother, and it meant something to her to give it to me. And I was like, okay. So I was like, she's like, eat it, Mom.
I'm watching.
Eat it. If you love me.
Was it flavored? Was it red velvet?
No, it
Okay.
was, I looked at it, because if it was supposed to taste like strawberry or cherry, I was going to be like, look, a bear, and throw it out the window or something. We're in the car. This is delicious. I'm like, thank you. I hope that's the last one on earth.
I ate it right after we saw that bear, remember?
It just said it was pink colored chocolate.
Huh.
And I don't like the white chocolate ones or anything like that
I
either. Ugh. So sweet. So I was like, fine, I'm just going to eat it. And I closed my eyes when I ate it to see if it just tasted like a peanut butter cup, and it pretty much did. But why does it have to be pink? A Reese's peanut butter cup in the shape of a heart can still be just the milk chocolate.
Yes. Yeah, I can.
Why go to the trouble to make it?
I don't know, but I know that they were adding red velvet as a big flavor for Valentine's Day, and nobody bought it because that's the only thing in the clearance bins right now.
These are all things that Ryan is the go-to guy on.
I still haven't eaten a red velvet because they look gross. Last one.
Yeah.
Female ICE agents fake car troubles to lure illegal out of Minnesota home.
Oh, please be real.
Yeah, I think this
I
one's
want
real.
this to be real. I need this to be real.
This is real.
Yes! This is how I get wine bottles open. Oh, this is so hard to open. If only I were a strong man who could open wine. And then they just come running.
Annie, that is exactly the way this played out.
Ladies, using the brain and a little bit of the brawn, but only as much as necessary.
ICE knew that this guy was a mechanic, and so they sent 2 female ICE agents who broke down in front of his house and lured him outside with the task of fixing down their broken car.
Did they just stand out next to their car and do this a bunch?
Yeah. Yeah. They just kind of looked around. Oh, no. I have no idea how it played out. I can tell you that...
It's funny to me that they sent 2 women.
Just to be safe. Within 5 minutes, it says, he came out and was immediately arrested.
Can I also, though, say that this makes me a little sad?
I know.
The human nature of this makes me a little sad because he came out to help. Probably.
He did,
I could put the best construction on it that he saw some women who needed help and he went out to actually help them and they were like, got you.
Yes, that is true.
Is he a bad guy?
This article addresses it. It says from Fox 9 in Minneapolis, a local article, it says the family is reaching out to immigration lawyers, but due to his status and history, they haven't found anybody to take the case. Because here's the deal. This guy's name was Jesus. He had already been deported at least one other time. So he's continually breaking the law, continues to come back in the United States, and continues to get deported.
Does he have any violent
It doesn't
crimes or
say that he
anything like
has a rap sheet or anything other than the fact that he's been deported multiple times.
I'd like the story more if he was like a super bad guy. And I'd like it super more if they like the chicks took him down.
I don't know about that.
With a tire wrench.
But yeah, there's your story.
Real.
It is real.
All right. YouTube live chat poll, modification in the poll here in the 2:00 hour. Do you think that the alien discussion that has been happening here lately, the president saying that he's going to declassify some of this information, will have Barack Obama's words on this? He kind of thrust this into the open, and President Trump said on Air Force One, he's like, I might have to declassify some things to get President Obama out of trouble because he was talking about classified information there, and I might have to help him out. What did Obama say? We'll play it for you. We can come back.
But few ever learn how to turn those savings into lasting income. And that's where Financial and Tax Architects comes in. They help people across St. Louis work to protect their life savings, minimize taxes, and retire with confidence. Now, they do a Retirement Planning 101 class, and it shows you exactly what others often miss: how to avoid hidden tax traps in your 401k or IRA, and how to make smarter decisions about Social Security. Now, this is a one-night, 2.5-hour, no-cost educational event. Seats fill up fast. And at FTA, they like to say that financial peace of mind in retirement is all about income. Lose the job and keep the paycheck. That's exactly what FTA will help you do. So if you're within 10 years of retirement or already retired, you can't afford to miss it. Call 314-888-5101 or go to fta-ria.com and reserve your seat now.
What's up, world? It's Von Miller, Super Bowl MVP, chicken farmer, and now host of Free Range. This is a show where I go off the field and off the script. We're talking what's hot in music, film, trending news, and everything blowing up your feed. If you love football, you'll feel at home. But if you're here for the vibes, the internet deep dives, the conversation, this is your podcast. Join me every Wednesday. Follow and listen to Free Range with me, Von Miller, everywhere you get your podcast.
Imagine this, a summer evening, relaxing under a beautiful porch overhang, hosting your friends on a composite deck, or enjoying a bug-free breeze in a screened room. That sounds dreamy, right? Hi, it's Kim, and that dream can be your reality with Lakeside Renovation and Design because they specialize in creating outdoor spaces that make your backyard the go-to spot for family and friends. And with their attention to detail and the high-quality materials they use, you'll have a space that lasts for years. Visit lakesideRD.com today to get started on your outdoor oasis.
It's time for you to get to know my friends at Lit Cigar Lounge in Chesterfield, where luxury meets comfort. Mark Cox here. They have a great selection of rare bourbons, whiskeys, craft cocktails, anything you like to drink, cold beer, premium hand-rolled cigars from the finest makers in the world, even private lockers that are available if you choose to. Perfect for date nights or business meetings, and live music every Friday night. Family owned and operated. Check them out in Chesterfield at the District. It's litstl.com.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how linking to the market is much safer than owning the market for your retirement savings. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go to retirementkey.com.
Do you have thoughts about aliens? We'd like you to vote in our new YouTube live chat poll that we just started this hour. Is it a distraction from what's going on? That's the question for you. You can vote. You can also text in your response at 314-241-9797. It is 2:37. This contract. What?
What's your problem?
This time check.
Unplug them and plug them back in.
It kind of rhymes. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
From High Ridge to Pontoon Beach, 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Thought I'd never be waking on the kitchen floor, but here I lie, not the first time. Now my morning has broken.
How do you feel about the alien discussion that's taking on a broader, more mainstream space right now in the news cycle?
I'm okay with it being discussed more openly and not being pushed to the corner, because if there is something, I don't want it to just be thrown out just because it's considered kind of kooky. That's how we actually get to the bottom of things. The problem is, if it is just a kooky thing, then we shouldn't give it in the air.
Well, and
I don't know.
Whatever is revealed, like what do we have to have in order for us to understand it's extraterrestrial? Because I'm always of the mind, and I probably am telling myself this to make myself feel better about it. So maybe it's a coping mechanism that we have defense things in our arsenal that are probably otherworldly looking. Of course, other places are going to have that as well. I mean, China flew a freaking air balloon over the entire country, and we're like, oh, look at that. What's that? Up in the sky.
Yeah, that was pretty low tech, though.
I know, but they got away with that. They got away with that. And then we shot it down on attempt part 2 over the water on the East Coast. It came in through Alaska. Like, it covered the most ground you could possibly cover.
That's true.
What more do you need to know about Joe Biden's incompetence? Here's President Obama talking about this issue.
Are aliens real?
They're real, but I haven't seen them, and they're not being kept in, what is it?
Area 51?
Area 51. There's no underground facility, unless there's this enormous conspiracy, and they hid it from the President of the United States.
What was the first question you wanted answered when you became president?
Where are the aliens?
Where are the aliens?
So he says there at the beginning,
are aliens real?
They're real, but I haven't seen them. And
what?
They're real, but he hasn't seen them. And then he tells us where they aren't, unless they didn't tell him. Thank you for clearing that up, Mr. President.
Yeah, that didn't clear up anything other than the first part where he says they're real. Well, how do you know? What intel do you have that says you know for sure that they are real instead of telling us why they're not? What a crazy answer that is.
He says it with a sly smirk on his face too. I mean, if the aliens are, if we're about to meet our impending doom, He's sipping coffee while he talks about it.
Yeah, maybe the aliens are just stupid. And he's like, yeah, they're real, but we don't have anything to worry about.
So the president was asked, Peter Doocy is all over this one, which is in and of itself just kind of funny. On Air Force One, President Trump was asked by Peter
Barack
Doocy.
Obama said that aliens are real. Have you seen any evidence of non-human visitors to Earth?
Well, he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that.
So, interrupting President Trump here, the classified information he gave is maybe what we heard from President Obama was aliens are real. They're not at Area 51 unless the conspiracy is bigger. First question he wanted to answer it as a president was, are there aliens? I don't believe him. The way he said that, it was kind of coy in a relatable kind of a way. But President Trump is saying that he gave away classified information. What is the classified information that he gave? Is it that there isn't an underground bunker at Area 51? Is it Area 51? What did he speak of that was classified?
So aliens are real.
Well, I don't know if they're real or not. I can tell you he gave classified information. He's not supposed to be doing that. Well,
I will add here, how would you describe President Trump's face while he's talking?
Just semi-amused, maybe.
Also not concerned about impending death and doom from the alien invasion.
Yeah.
And Carolyn Levitt's face in the background, even more so.
Oh, by far.
Oh, she's smiling. She's smirking.
Chuckling.
She's laughing about it.
he made a big mistake. He took it out of classified information. No, I don't have an opinion on it. I never talk about it. A lot of people do. A lot of people believe it. Do you believe it, Peter?
Well, the president can declassify anything that he wants to, so if you want to make an announcement.
I may get him out of trouble by declassifying.
We know.
So then we find out that the president makes a post on True Social and says he's going to declassify some stuff. I want to know if Epstein's going to be in the alien files. What if Epstein was an alien? What if they're the same files? Do you believe they walk among us?
No. I do not.
If one of the four people in the show was an alien, who would it be?
Ethan.
Because he's not in here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Brad?
Which question would you like me to answer first?
I don't know. Answer anything you
So,
want.
no, I don't think that they walk among us. If anybody in this show was an alien, it'd be the first person that you asked this question to, and it would be Ryan.
Because I don't quite fit into your humanity.
No, because you're trying too hard.
You act exactly like an alien on Men in Black. Just enough weird.
And you got a hoodie on underneath your sweatshirt.
No, I don't.
is it a
It's one
t-shirt?
shirt. It's all one shirt.
Is one it? Shirt.
Yeah.
You
It
got a
looks
lot,
like it.
You got a lot going on there. You look like cool dude.
I got the shirt in Japan.
Oh, that's why you look cooler.
And that's why it's cooler and looks foreign and out of this world.
No,
Which
not
is
really.
What you're saying.
Just looks out of your wardrobe.
I
All
don't
right.
wear this a lot.
Let us know what you think about aliens. Do you think that when the alien talk starts to bubble up to the surface, is it a distraction? Let's do a little Ask Us Anything when we come back to wrap up this very busy show. Of course, the president getting not so great news from the Supreme Court today, saying that his implementation of tariffs through the Emergency Powers Act is not constitutional. And the president said, okay, fine, I'll do it a different way. And he said he has multiple ways to get it done. Go vote in the YouTube poll. A secondary YouTube poll. Is the alien discussion a distraction? Yes or no? Back in a minute. Stewart's American Mortgage and the Bagel Loan, 314-324-4440. That's 314-324-4440. How you talk to Stewie about your mortgage situation. If you haven't yet, I'd encourage you to connect with him at that number, phone call or text, and talk to him how he can improve your mortgage situation. For a new home purchase, if you've been recommended a lender, a reminder, you can get a second opinion and just see if Stewie has the better deal. I think he might. The Bagel Loan comes with $0 in closing costs. So you go through the process to acquire that new mortgage on the new home you're looking to purchase, and you don't pay anything in closing costs. Those closing fees, they don't exist when you qualify for the Bagel Loan with Stewart's American Mortgage. If you're looking to do a refinance, maybe lower a rate as rates have come down from their highest highs, or if you're looking to take cash out of your house, if the equity in your home has grown, you want to use that cash to work for you in a way that is better than the equity just sitting in your home, you can call him and text him at 314-324-4440. Google the Bagel Loan, NMLS number 226715.
Mark Cox here. I get to attend President Trump's State of the Union address, and I'm taking you with me. We'll have real-time reaction and the Mark Cox Morning Show live from the Fox News D.C. Bureau, February 24th and 25th, sponsored by Corral Roofing and Golden Oak Lending.
Everyone needs to have at least one person in their corner in life. When you don't, it's an extremely lonely and frightening place to be. But knowing you have that one person gives you peace and hope. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Since 1988, myself and my firm have been in so many corners for so many clients for so many years. We became the largest injury firm in the world for a reason, and it's not even close. We fought like hell for you. We fight the bullies, automobile insurance companies, the makers of unsafe products, medical providers who injured or killed their own patients. It has been such an honor and made my life complete. If you ever need us, it's easy. On your mobile device or computer, visit forthepeople.com, and then we get to work 24/7. Whether you're hurt in a car crash, injured on the job, or have questions about your Social Security, we're here for you. Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
There's no better way to upgrade your backyard than by calling my friends at Chesterfield Fence and Deck Company. Mark Cox here. Locally owned and operated for 58 years now, and it is a sign you have the very best because they're so proud of what they do. They offer fences, of course, and decks, and sunrooms, and screen rooms, and patios, retaining walls, and so much more. Chesterfield Fence and Deck takes so much pride in what they do because they've done it for so many people. When they come over to your house, they'll give you a free estimate, no obligation, free project design. They'll take out their digital photo gallery of completed projects and let you see what other people are doing, and then you can make it your own. When they do their work, they give you a 5-year labor warranty and a comprehensive material warranty, and they're highly rated with the Better Business Bureau, of course. Reach out to them today. Tell them you heard about it from Mark Cox. You're going to get 48 months interest-free financing on your next project. Go to chesterfieldfence.com.
Ask Me Anything coming up next. We call it Next Question. If you have any questions for us, let us know. You can also text in 314-241-9797 if you have any questions. 314-241-9797. I will be monitoring those. It is 2:48. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show. 97.1 FM Talk, St. Louis Conservative.
Next question. It's a legitimate question.
Next question.
Next question, please.
Next question on The Annie Fry Show.
All right, we're going to wrap up this busy Friday show with a little bit of fun here. My first question for you guys, what is the most memorable professional sports game you've ever been to? Just like, I'll give you mine to start with while you're thinking about it. The first one was, I think it was the 2013. We won the pennant in 2013. Clayton Kershaw lost to Michael Wacha. I was there for that game, and we won by like 10 runs or something. So it was a party the whole time. That's the farthest I've ever watched the Cardinals go in the postseason in person. But probably my most memorable game that I ever attended. I was actually in Cincinnati in August of 2010 when Cincinnati, Johnny Cueto and Yadier Molina and is it Brandon Rollins got into that huge fight, that huge brawl, and it ended the what?
I'm just telling Brad he can go before me.
Okay, it ended the career of Jason LaRue, who was our backup catcher. But it was a huge brawl. We won. Yadier Molina hit a home run to left field, and we were sitting in left field, and Charlie was 10 months old at the time. So Jared's pumping his fist in the air in his Cardinals jersey on Yadi's home run with Charlie in one arm and his fist in the other around a bunch of Reds fans that were sitting down. That was before the fight. And then after the fight happened, we were just like, okay, hi. We're just, yay. All right, we're going to scooch on out of here. Wow. But we happened to, we've been touring stadiums, and that was the game we were at Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, was the fight night. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's a very memorable game.
The one that sticks out, and you guys might disagree that this was a sporting event, but the Indy 500 2 years ago. Never thought I would be able to ever go to one of those. Went to one of those. It was the very first career win for Joseph Newgarden, it was one of those things. He was a driver for Team Penske, and he had been chasing this for his whole career, and it was like a storyline and everything. It was kind of like when Dale Earnhardt finally won the Daytona 500. It's not that big, but along those lines, and I was at that race, and I got to stay there and watch him do his victory lap and everything. It was a very cool, wild experience.
Mine is outside the box too. It's when I got to attend the PGA Championship when I was like 12 years old or something here in St. Louis. Mm-hmm. I got to go to a couple of either one practice round or two. I don't remember which. I was pretty young. And I remember walking around trying to get autographs of all these PGA players in 1990.
No, that totally qualifies.
Or whatever it is. And the one that was really hard to get, some of them stand there and sign for a while. And I remember Nick Faldo was standing there with me for a while. Jack Nicklaus.
Really?
Everybody wanted to get Jack Nicklaus, and he'd walk right by and grab one. He'd grab one and just keep walking, sign it, and then just give it back to the crowd.
Oh, my gosh.
So if he took your thing, you'd have to run with him
to try to get
with the crowd. And the guy I was with actually was Larry from Andrea's Restaurant.
Uh-huh.
He, for whatever reason, Jack Nicklaus grabbed his towel.
Did he stay with him?
And Larry took off running. I'm like,
get
oh my gosh, you gotta
go. Yeah.
And he was able to get it back. The crowd is actually fairly nice, but
Sure.
you never know if they're just going to
know.
keep it. He had all these signatures, and I remember always seeing that up in his
That's
bar.
so cool. And being there.
Being there to see it happen.
Yeah. Ryan Franklin gave Charlie, 10-month-old Charlie, handed a ball to us
that's
for him
cool.
because we were there at a time. Next question.
Next question. I'm actually going to go to the stream here. It says, oh my, Ryan, let's talk Reese's. Walking out of the store the other day, saw the Mega Caramel Reese's, and I thought, Ryan knows his candy. And he talked about these some time ago, so I bought it, Nectar of the Gods. My question for you is, have you ever had a Caramel Reese's?
No.
No.
Next question.
You guys are crazy.
Ryan talks about these all the time.
They're the best.
Brad?
What would you say is the most overrated romantic movie?
Wow. Overrated.
Hurry up. We've got 3 minutes.
Well, then you got to go first.
Yeah, it's The Notebook. Easily The Notebook.
What's wrong with The Notebook?
It's about a woman who cheats on her man, and then the girls say it's romantic. Like, if you reverse the roles in that would be like the worst human being alive. But because a girl does it, she gets, it's like, oh, it's romantic. That's a terrible movie. Awful movie.
Gosh. I don't know. Any vampire movie, Interview with the Vampire. I think vampire movies that have romance in them are boring, stupid, and disgusting.
And almost not believable because are they even real?
I know. It's like, what do you think is going to happen? You going to
I don't have an
that
answer
guy?
to this question. I can't think under this kind of pressure, but I will come up with one at about 7 o'clock tonight. Maybe I'll randomly tweet it. Because there's one that's like on the, it's in my brain, but I cannot pin it down. My next question, what is the appropriate way? And listen, folks, I know you truckers are listening right now. Tweet at me, message me on Facebook, tell me this. What's the appropriate way to alert a trucker or maybe even a car that there's something wrong with their load? You ever been driving next to a trucker and maybe something's like falling off the back of the truck? Or here's what happens a lot coming from here, downtown St. Louis, and going home. There are a lot of landfills. There's a lot of scraps. There will be people, these truckers will be driving and they won't have a cover on the top of their load. And there's just ish
Stuff
flying all over my car. And I'm assuming that, like, A, do you know that this is happening? B, do you care? But first, go back to A. Do you know? And what am I supposed to do if you're throwing junk all over my car other than mean mug you when I drive by and you just think I'm a crazy lady in a minivan?
Or there's rocks and dirt falling out of the back.
Like
of
a load
one.
of dirt or like some sort of excavation. What's the appropriate way to do or say anything? Or do you just call the police?
Okay.
Well, you got to drive up next to him, right?
So here's the thing.
I don't know.
That's
That's
the
the
only way to do
question.
it.
Now, here's the thing. The guys with the hauling the scraps, they know. Truck drivers with dirt and rock and stuff like that, they can't do anything about it.
They have to be able to. It has to be covered.
No, it doesn't.
Listen, we don't have time to get into this, but I need follow-up from you truckers listening right now. Message me on the Annie Fry Show Facebook page or tweet me because Brad just accused all of the scrappers of knowing exactly what they're doing.
That's what that sign on the stay back 500 feet, that's why it's on the back of their truck.
But yeah, but then it's all over the road. They don't get to litter everything everywhere. So if they know, then what the heck are you doing? Message me. Help us with some clarity. YouTube live chat poll part 2 is the alien discussion a distraction, yes or no, Brad?
Oh, yeah, it's absolutely a distraction.
Ryan?
No, it's not a distraction.
It's real.
No, it's just a part of the discourse. They're not trying to use it as
It's just
a
a
distraction.
story. It's just part of the cycle.
Yeah.
It's not meant to look over here, look
No,
over here.
no.
All right. 81% of you don't agree with Ryan. Shocking.
All right.
81% say it's a distraction. We'll keep covering that as well. Keep it right here. Mark Reardon from the Fish Fry next.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Money, sponsored by Ethos.
The 8th grade or senior class trip has gone upscale. Schools are now celebrating graduation with trips to Disney World or Europe.
You want your kids to have experiences that you didn't get to have when you were a kid.
Financial advisor Shane Gornick says you have to stay on top of all expenses before saying yes.
You want to do it eyes wide open and make sure you're looking at all the pros and all the cons.
You need to determine if the educational value is worth the cost. I'm Rob Hart.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. After my husband died, the last thing I wanted to think about was money. Ethos made it affordable to get life insurance. Signing up was fast and 100% online. I knew that I could pay our mortgage and have food in the fridge. I could focus on my kids. No one ever tells you how much you're going to depend on that policy. I am so grateful we had coverage.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/life. That's ethos.com/life. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions.
What's your favorite 4-letter word? Chances are you've said it more than a few times dealing with this crazy world we live in. But at Compass Retirement Solutions, our 4-letter word of choice is hope. Hope for a better tomorrow. And hope that your retirement plans don't take a back seat. You've watched inflation soar, and maybe your retirement future feels a little uncertain right now. But all hope is not lost. Find out exactly how much risk you're still taking with your investments. Find out how you may be able to save big on taxes. And find out how having a written retirement plan just might give you the hope you've been looking for. Call today to set up a meeting. 314-373-1598. That's 314-373-1598. Compass Retirement Solutions. 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services but does not provide tax advice. Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a